Oh, that Darth Plagueis. He's such a tease. Everyone, welcome back to another Acolyte-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Drew.
And we are back with The Acolyte, Season 1, Episode 8, the finale, The Acolyte.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name of the episode. You just turn that up in mid.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
that just,
it was so
just,
quiet.
Yeah.
I was like,
But yes, so they didn't have the title last night when I started at 8 o'clock. Like, there was no
Wait,
title.
really?
It was just called Episode 8, and it was just their poster for the thumbnail.
yeah, no, it was that for me too. And I watched that like way later than all you guys because you guys pretty much spoiled it for me. But
it wasn't that way for me. And
weird.
I watched it.
California privilege, I guess.
I can't, maybe.
Is there a server
I
in
probably watched
California?
it,
So it's like starts there and then goes out
And
to
then
the rest of the...
it goes to the
Yeah,
East Coast,
probably. That's where it's uploaded to.
Yeah.
But yes, The Acolyte. That's the name of the episode, and it's the last episode of the season, the finale. Some people are happy it's over. Some people are excited for the future, and we'll discuss tonight. So normally, like we said last week, that we do Spotify Q&A, but they got rid of that on Spotify.
Oof.
So we tried something new where in the description, I'd have the question. Then in the comment section, the new comment section, you would give the answers to the question.
Mm-hmm.
And no one answered the question.
Oh, no.
So it's a trial and error. So we're trying to...
Okay, so, well, what was the question? We can answer the question. Drew and I.
I think I probably already did, but let's
All
go.
right, now I got to click on it. Let's see.
What's the question? Give it to us.
Hold on. Go.
Is Pikachu Grogu? Yes, they're the same.
Oh, okay. This was something we wanted to ask you anyway.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, it's...
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
And we'll
is
talk.
that from?
We'll go over this in a voicemail that will get
SpongeBob,
rehashed that we had from last week, because they know that Andrew's on, so they're kind of re-asking a question. But it was, why did Soul use the Force to catch the bridges rather than the girls?
Yeah, I want to actually know what Andrew's response to this is.
We had a whole discussion about how the Force works, and that'll be re-asked in the voicemails. But like, why do you think he chose the bridges rather than the girls?
I feel like I legit, this might be a lame answer, but I legit feel like it was just human. It was just a human reaction, right? So like when you're facing some sort of a catastrophe, your brain's gonna jump to the simplest thing, right? Based on the training you have, right? Based on what you've been through, based on your past experiences, stuff like that. Me personally, I not once thought about him doing that. And when he did it, I was like, yeah, that's what they're on. So like, I don't know. I probably would have done the same thing just as a human.
Yeah, everyone in the Discord came to that like confusion at the same time. Like, why didn't you just catch the girls?
And that's like a huge like thing.
So like it was
well.
clearly...
The other thing is, I think maybe he was hoping they'd like walk, they'd like move back. They stayed there, for a really unnecessarily long time. But
they also didn't know that he was there.
True.
Yeah,
but like
I don't know.
I
would have probably done the same.
And they don't know how to understand the situation really.
Sure.
It's chaos is taking over, but
I mean, some people will say it's a writing mistake.
A lot of people,
I would, that's what I would
it's there
say.
for dramatic effect, and it has to do with the story of him having to choose. But like,
yeah, I mean, that's fine. I think one thing that this series did really well is like really humanizing the Jedi. Like they stripped away some of that like they're just superheroes and they're infallible and all that stuff that we've got. Maybe, I mean, the prequels weren't any better, but at least in the prequels, there was more of an air of like their invincibility. Whereas like here, both physically and emotionally, you can tell that they're still human. They're vulnerable. So for me, I was like, I guess he just decided to do the first thing that popped into his mind. It was like a split-second decision. But
All right.
haters gonna hate. It's fine.
Cool. All right. Well, we got a long episode in because this is going to be when the three of us are together doing an episode breakdown.
Buckle up, folks.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
And we have 8 voicemails too. So
And they're all 4 minutes long.
when it was me and Andrew a couple weeks ago, with the bunch of voicemails, like 8 voicemails, we were here for over 3 hours, and now there's 3 of us.
It's my fault. It's just Andrew.
It is, but
dang, dude.
So we might as well jump into the episode. So
you're going first, Jeremiah.
Me?
Yes, because you did it on Andrew's or mine. It's your turn to go first.
Oh. Okay, so we're going to go over overall thoughts of this episode.
Yep.
So, as a finale, I think I was actually kind of satisfied by this as a finale.
Okay.
I still think there are a lot of things in this episode that could have been done better. I think there's a lot of still like the writing issues that I see in it, and we'll talk about it as we go through it. But overall, as I was watching, I'm like, I'm actually kind of into this episode. Like, I felt there's a lot of meaningful things. The one kind of like big thing that I felt was an issue was that so May and Osha are supposed to be the main characters of the show, but I feel like their story was like the least important in this finale. Even though it was there throughout like the whole thing, but like I feel like the story itself focused more on Sol and Vernestra and what they were doing.
The finale, at least.
In the finale. And for May and Osha, they're kind of just there as like the glue that holds it all together type of thing, which is important. But like, I was really into the Sol and Vernestra stuff, and I wasn't emotionally invested in the May Osha stuff. Like I just don't think that their switch of sides was very convincing. And like May just like being happy for Osha in the end, I felt was kind of like a weird thing where she's happy that her sister is turning to the dark side and joining what we think might be now a Sith for sure. We don't know. We'll talk about it, but I don't know. But overall, I'm satisfied with the show's ending, and I actually want to know what happens next, where I didn't think that by the end of this episode that I was going to like really care about the future.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful that they might see the criticisms that people have of the show and then kind of hone it to like, all right, maybe we can make it a little bit better than what we did in the first season. But that's me. Who's next?
Drew.
I'll go next. This is the episode I wanted this entire show to be.
So is that
this
good
is
or bad?
in a good way. This is the most engaged I was like fully in this entire episode compared to like other episodes where I felt like I was in it and then I was like distracted. There was like not a point in this episode that I didn't feel like I was fully in this episode, which I really liked. There's parts obviously that I don't like about it.
Basil.
The biggest thing, honestly, yeah, he's
The what did you say?
I don't understand
Basil.
Oh yeah,
that
we'll talk about
character
that
at all.
Slap that little thing.
It's just stupid, but whatever. I just think like there's my stuff that I don't like about it all has to do with honestly just poor writing. And like that's it. Like I think the whole switch for like May and she like Jeremiah, you were saying like how she, all right, I'm ready to get brain wiped. I'm like, all right, here it goes. Like, take my brain away and make it so I don't remember half my life, so that my sister becomes a dark side with her new boyfriend, which was my old boyfriend. Like, I don't like. I thought that part like bothered me, and I was just like, this is so just kind of dumb. So like, I didn't really like that part, and I honestly like that. It wasn't convincing. Like that part wasn't convincing. The other part was pretty convincing. I think Soul's character, I'm like really sad that he's actually dead, because like I really liked him, and like his acting and performance was the strongest in this entire show.
Oh yeah, he
And
carried every scene he was in.
yeah, like between him and honestly like the main bad guy, like
Yeah, Manny.
those two are like the best acting in the entire show. Like,
Oh yeah.
and anyone else that was like decent, they're already dead. I think May and Osha are one of like towards the end of it, it felt like they were just slowly getting worse at acting, which just doesn't really make sense to me. I don't know the timeline of them filming the show, but like their acting kind of just fell off towards the end when she was like hugging herself. Like that whole thing, it was just like this is kind of cheesy. It didn't really feel that great. Um, I really like the fighting. I thought like the between Soul and like that whole fighting scene before he got choked out, like that whole thing was really really cool and really intense, and I thought it was really well choreographed, and like people hate on like the force suit or whatever, like that stuff was so like I loved it. I loved that whole part. I thought it was really good. Um I like freaked out when Dark Plagueis was like hiding in the corner.
I shot off the couch.
I was like,
Literally
well,
shot off the couch like a rocket.
yeah. I was a little spoiled by you guys in the Discord. So I felt like something big was about to happen, but I didn't know where or when. And then my buddy from work texted me. He's like, "Who's the guy in the cave?" I was like, "What are you talking? Okay, stop." So then I had to like watch it because I was going like it was already like what I think it was like 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, all right, now I'm gonna watch it. And yeah, I kind of wish I would record myself because I was like freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh. So
See,
like that was cool.
so I guess I was mentioning this now, but like I felt like that reveal should have been at the very end when they were holding hands looking into the sunset.
Yeah,
Because the whole episode, I was waiting for him to come back
facts.
to show up. I thought he was the one force choking Soul. Like he appeared. Like
I had my own. I'll tell y'all about it when my turn comes around. But I had a theory that I really wanted to happen that didn't happen.
Mm.
But
Yeah, but to your point, Jeremiah, I agree. I was like waiting for him again, and nothing happened. So it's just like, why did we get that so early in the episode? Like it was 12 minutes into the episode, we got him, and then nothing again. And then also, I thought the reveal of Yoda at the end was stupid. I just
yeah,
thought
it
it
was
was
kinda
just dumb
lame.
and like a waste of our time. And like, oh, it's such a secret to see Yoda. Like, we know who Yoda is. Like, it's not like a character that we've like.
well, I don't think it was a character reveal as much as it was like some shady stuff is about to go down.
Yeah, probably. I mean, but okay. So my biggest overall complaint. I don't want to. I don't want to do it yet. But
We'll do it at the end when we do.
yeah,
our,
we'll do it at the
thing.
end.
All
Because
right.
I have some thoughts that I feel like a lot of this stuff about the High Republic isn't aligning properly to the novels of the High Republic and what the Jedi are in those novels. But we'll get there.
You know what's funny? I feel the same way about Thrawn. The way you're feeling about this is the way that I feel about Thrawn.
I could see that,
Yeah.
especially this new variant of live action Thrawn for sure.
I don't like him as much, nearly as much.
He's not the same character though.
Yeah. So,
Like
anyways, that's
he's
beside the point. But
12 years depressed on a planet by himself with a bunch of like troopers that they all
probably not
slowly
great conversation.
died off too. Like,
Yeah.
and who knows? He probably ate them. Like, we don't know. They died, and
What is
you
going
gotta
on?
eat. You gotta eat. I don't know. Like, so like Thrawn's character, I feel like it's a little different because like you know that there's like a press going on in that character, But the Jedi in this do not line up with
Well,
the
it
High
is
Republic
100
Jedi.
years. So
Still,
think about
but
how much happens in the modern world in 100 years, like how much we change. It's
I
a
mean, you're not
lot.
wrong.
Like 100 years from now is what, 1924? A lot of stuff has happened since 1924.
True, that's fair.
But I think the fact
Like
that
the
they
release of
kind
A New
of,
Hope. That in and of itself will change your culture. You know what I'm saying?
but I think that with like them marketing the show as these are the Jedi of the High Republic, like we associate that with the Jedi of
Oh,
the
sure.
books.
What they
And
should have
so,
said is like
like,
these are the Jedi of the like not quite as high Republic. You know,
These
like
are the Jedis that like
they're on the decline. They're
don't
really
know what they're doing. / get sick on a starship because they can't
yeah,
travel through space.
they're on the decline. They're
Yeah.
definitely like this. I can draw a parallel between these Jedi and the Jedi, the prequel, and it makes sense. over
Honestly,
100
though, I
years.
feel like these Jedis are some of these Padawans is like they need to keep going back. They need to go back to school. Like they need
just
to.
the one guy,
Yeah,
Mog. Anyway,
did not enjoy
anything
him.
else, Drew?
Yeah. No, we'll get there.
All right, Andrew, your overall thoughts of this finale episode.
This finale, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I think this is my favorite episode of the series.
Mhm.
Definitely some things like, again, I have been overall very positive of the show and will continue to be, but like there are definitely things, right? I agree. I think if the Plagueis reveal was the only time we were going to see him, it should have been at the end. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Jeremiah. That wouldn't have changed the story at all, and I think it
Right.
would have been more impactful.
Right.
Mhm.
So speaking of that really quickly, I really wanted this whole series, right? We have it framed by what Ki-Adi-Mundi says in The Phantom Menace, right? So
Right.
all of the scenes with Jedi and these quote unquote Sith in it have to be framed in that light, meaning how does the information not get out, right? How does
Mhm.
Ki-Adi-Mundi still not believe that the Sith are a thing, even though he was there, right? And so like every time there's a bunch of Jedi and Quimir / the stranger is in the same place, I'm like, either he's gonna slip away or everyone's gonna have to die. It's one of the two. Either no one sees him, or everyone's gonna have to die if they do, right?
Mhm.
And so I was really hoping we see Plagueis, and then you see the scene where May and Osha, and it was a little bit before Soul dies. Or maybe it was a little after it. I don't remember, but I know the Jedi, like the ship goes over, and I knew the Jedi were coming. I was like, there's a lot of Jedi. Like,
Yeah.
he needs to go. It's the situation
Yep.
again. It's like he either needs to go or they're all gonna die. And I looked up at Micaiah and was like, I paused the episode and I was like, I'm going to sound so terrible for what I'm about to say, but I need Plagueis to come out and slaughter every single one of these Jedi.
Dude, imagine that.
No,
That would have
but
been
like,
so dope.
but like, seriously, I was like, I need this to happen
Yeah.
because this is not it needed to happen, but that's what I wanted to happen. I wanted him to come out.
No, I get it.
I wanted Quimir to be backed into a corner with May and Osha. Vernestra's there. They're all there. And that's how she dies. Like, as powerful as she is, I wanted him to come out and just no one's left. I really wanted that to happen. I wanted them all to die. It's the first time in a Star Wars show that I'm like, the Jedi really, I want to see them all just meet brutal ends at the end of Force Lightning and like lightsabers and stuff like that. I was really hoping that they were going to save that to the end, and then the episode was going to end. That didn't happen. It's fine. It is a little bit of a letdown.
But I speak on that. No one knows of the Sith line, so like,
yeah. Well, and the same thing ended up happening,
right?
Thanks to old someone's got dirt in her past, Vernestra.
No, because she doesn't even know either. She never heard the word Sith.
Well, she doesn't know Sith, but she knows that her old Padawan.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is like her covering up the fact that there wasn't.
She's doing
dark
the
side
same thing that Soul did.
Correct. So she's helping keeping that. She is helping keep that secret, which fine. It's Ki-Adi-Mundi still doesn't have to lie.
Right.
Whatever.
Well, and like people complain about that whole thing. There was 1,000 years without any struggle and whatever.
Let
He
me-
says there's 1,000 years without Sith. He did not say without death, because
Let
if
me-
that's the case, the entire High Republic books are
Yeah.
also
Let me
flawed.
tell you something. People need to stop trying to figure out how this show fits into the timeline and complaining about how it's not going to until we get the full story. Like,
Facts.
stop. Like, look, Plagueis comes out, right? Immediately, my mind's going, what's just the rule of two? What does that make Quimir? Like, is he the apprentice? Why is he training Osha? Plagueis is watching them do it. Does Plagueis know? Or is he watching him? Is this whole thing a test? Like, all these questions, right, about the Sith. It's just pop, 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 just firing off like the 4th of July fireworks in LA.
Mhm.
And I was texting. Listen, I was texting Tanner, and we were having the conversation. It's like, what is this? We have so many questions, right? Blah 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 blah. And then I was like, wait, there's going to be more seasons of this. We're going to find out. Hopefully.
What is Tanner's overall thoughts? Because like we watched the first 2 episodes together, and then I haven't heard anything from him since.
He's pretty similar to me. Like, there are parts of it he's really enjoyed, and
Okay.
then there are parts that he hasn't enjoyed.
And I think
overall,
that's
it's
me
been
and
kinda
Jeremiah
neutral.
too.
Yeah.
Like, we are not on the level of some people out there that literally hate this episode. And if you
No.
guys hate it, that's fine. If you guys love the show, that's
Just make sure you're hating it
awesome.
for the right reasons.
But also just
That's all I'm going to
like
say.
don't hate on people that like it.
Yeah.
Like, that's just straight up. Like,
there's
no
enough division in this country right now for many
real.
reasons. Okay, let's just that's all I'm going to say. Let's just stop.
Star Wars fans don't need to be on top
Let's
of this.
just stop. But
Yeah.
so like, all I'm saying is, like, don't complain about Kiadi Mundi yet. All right. If we get to the end of the Acolyte, however many seasons that's going to be, and they biff it, freaking go shout it
Go
from the
ham,
mountaintops.
Go ham. But also,
like,
they don't know about the Sith.
Yeah. But like, the other thing is, like, I've seen articles and comments about, like, they're messing up the rule of two. This is stupid, blah, blah. It's like, just wait.
But
Wait.
My thing is,
give it a second.
From our perspective, it looks like Plagueis wasn't actually with either of those two. Potentially,
Can you imagine if Quimir just happened to settle in, like, as a neighbor, and he was like, what the heck is going on? You know?
Like, dude, imagine,
That's not the case, but
like, what if he didn't train Quimir and they were just there, and Plagueis felt like the disturbance in the
Maybe.
Force, and
I
he
mean,
showed
there
up
are-
there to see what was going on, and he was
Yeah.
hiding about the things. And then the next season, episode 1, he goes out and kills both of them, and then that's the beginning of Plagueis show, and then we just go straight from there. That'd be amazing.
The
That'd be
Plagueis
dope.
show. Ding.
Like,
All I'm
imagine
saying-
that. Like,
Yeah,
the first
all I'm
episode, he just
saying
kills both of them, and then
is,
May's
like-
looking for her sister the entire time, but doesn't even know that she has a sister. And like, I don't know. I'm just saying that would be dope.
All I'm saying is, people just need to calm down until we know
Yeah.
the full story. If we get the full story and it sucks, get on the YouTubes, turn on your camera, and say what you're going to say, as long as it's not disrespectful to the people, because they don't deserve it. But all I'm saying is, like, let's just slow down with all of the negative assumptions, because we don't know the whole story. Speaking of which, there are a lot of questions that after this episode that I'm very pleasantly stuck with, if that makes sense. Like, what happened when she had the helmet on? There's a lot about that scene we don't know that I think they're going to explain. But, like, what happened with that? Like, what's going to happen with Quimir and her? I don't like that there's, like, a relationship thing. I'll be the first to say it, you know. But, like, because that's
What's the acronym for them? Osha and
I don't know.
Osha.
I know a lot of people are shipping them, but I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, they held hands at the.
Yeah, I don't.
Last time we saw someone do that, they literally got blown up by the planet blew up in front of them. Hence Rogue One. Like, that's a thing. They're a thing.
But I don't know. I didn't enjoy
Star
that.
Wars.
I do think that having a lightsaber crystal being bled in live action was insane.
That was pretty insane.
It's
A lot of
interesting
people
because
hate it, but I like it.
it wasn't this to the same level of theatrics and being dramatic as this Darth Vader comic was.
Yeah, that's like the biggest complaint.
But if you think about it a little bit, it does kind of make sense why it happened the way it did. I thought that was really cool. Tanner really liked that. I thought that whole sequence was, like, just so freaking cool to see in live action.
Mhm.
The fight scene, literally, this show has had some of my favorite lightsaber choreography since the Obi-Wan Anakin duel. Like Quimir's fighting style is so freaking cool to me. Like every time he draws his lightsaber, I'm like, just give me a 30-minute episode of him fighting people and I'm happy. Like that's
Are
how
you
much
sure
I like
you're
it.
just not looking at his arms, Andrew?
I was during episode 5. But like this
Everyone
time
was
it was
looking at his arms.
yeah. This time it was much more like, yo, we're finally seeing these two masters like really go ham
And
on each other.
Soul took a nap. He was rehydrated. He was ready to go again.
Like Soul. So the whole sequence of the lightsaber spins and everything, I was like, that's how this is a seasoned master. Like he knows what he's doing. And like that scene, so it was interesting. So those fight scenes, they tell a story in a really refreshing way. Like there's a problem and one of them solves it. And then there's another problem and one of them solves it. And like that's what a good fight choreography, whether or like any sort of an action scene, car chase, a fight, I don't know, a Yu-Gi-Oh duel. I don't know. There it has to flow. There has to be a flow to it, right?
Did you see who did the who made the choreography for the show?
No.
The same person who did the choreography for the Vader hallway scene in Rogue One.
See,
That
there
makes
you
a lot
go.
of sense.
That's all I need to know.
I do know he's a black guy because I saw him on a thumbnail that was like, is this guy going to save Star Wars? And I was like, that's really cool.
Is that the guy that did the Ahsoka choreography for Mando season 1 or season 2?
I don't know. I just know that there's not a ton of people of color that are at, working at that level in Hollywood. So I thought that was really cool. But other than that, like, I don't know much about him. But I freaking love it.
It's not the same. Is it one of Mando's stunt doubles? It's not the same guy, right?
Mm-mm.
The guy with the giant dread rocks, which are always
no.
like,
I don't think it was the same guy.
My biggest question is how does he get that in the helmet? But it's a question I'll never get answers for.
But I will say, like, the fight choreography I loved every second of that.
Yeah, it was
like
best.
His fighting style was so like wild and off the wall, and I love it. And at the same time, there's structure to it, where like there's wild in like Kelnaka's brain being overcome by witches. Like there's wild and unsophisticated, and then there's wild and intentionally wild and sophisticated. And I love that they portray that. But yeah, I mean, they're I was not gonna lie, I was really worried after the last episode because the entire episode was a flashback, and I also thought that they could have done things differently there. And I was like, there's a lot of things that need to wrap up in a single episode.
I mean, that was our biggest complaint about last week's was like, how are they going to do that?
Yeah, and I thought they did it really well.
And it was long.
Yeah,
like it was
the
what
longest episode of the season.
It's like 49 minutes. I mean, outside of credits and whatever, it was shorter than that. But still,
I love
it was
that they
the
got
longest
Plagueis.
one.
I love that we got Plagueis. So that shot happened, and this was the play-by-play. So I'm on my couch in front of my TV. I see the hand. I see as it's moving in, I go, what? And then it grips, and I said, what? And then it turns, and I'm like, there was a third what? And then I see the eyes and the flat nose, and I jumped up and went, that's Plagueis! And like shouted. I like shot off the couch and paused the episode, and I looked at McKay, and I was like, that's Plagueis. And I could tell that she knew the significance, but the excitement level was very different. she knows who Plagueis.
Yeah, you already yelled that very loudly. We know.
Yeah. And so I was extremely excited to see. I had a very different reaction than someone else on YouTube did that you sent me a video of earlier.
I had to, dude.
I was just I was just happy to he's in live action. Like, I was pumped too, but I was like, I gotta see this person's reaction. Yeah, I was like, this is the first time.
I was dying laughing, dude. It's so funny.
Yeah, he's.
All right, we're not gonna talk about him.
Yeah, he's canon. He's been canon.
Oh,
but like we've not seen him. Like he was in a book. He was in the Secret of the Sith book, but you don't see his face. You see like the part of his brow and his two glowing orange eyes, but most of it is covered by the hood. So this is the first time we've seen a moon like it's very clearly Darth Plagueis. So,
yeah, it's Plagueis. Like they're not going. What if they came out and said it wasn't?
There
I
are
think she's already confirmed though that it is.
there are some questions. There are some questions. Like, for example, if we go by Legends lore, they do have a much longer lifespan than humans. We're talking multiple hundreds of years, not quite as long as Yoda. But at the time of his death in Legends, he was like between 120 and 140. Which, if we go by that logic, which doesn't technically apply, but let's just say we are for a second, he would be too young to be a master at this point, being 100 years removed from the Phantom Menace. Now, his hands were looking wrinkly, crinkly, nasty. He was looking old, or very deformed by the dark side either. So there are some questions there as to like, how does this fit in? If that is Plagueis, knowing that Palpatine was his most successful pupil, like obviously something is going to happen to the next 3 or 4 that he has. I heard that maybe they're actually rewriting the story where the moon is Tenebrous and Plagueis is Quimir or someone that comes farther down the line, which I wouldn't necessarily be happy about, but so I don't know. I do know
But
that like
didn't
here's the
the
thing.
writer say on Star Wars that was Plagueis on StarWars.com?
All I know is that, say what you want about the writing, Leslie Headland is a fan of the EU. So I know that there is what.
So is that why the show is so terrible?
No, I'm just saying.
Just joking.
She's already brought Cortosis into
Right.
visual canon. You know, like I know.
Well, and the planet they're on
is probably Baldemnik, yeah. But so it's like I know that there is at least a level of respect for the material that she's bringing in, and she's not going to just go in and blindly and screw it up just for the sake of screwing
she's
it up.
already changed one person's birthday. Wouldn't surprise me if she changed someone else's birthday.
Caddy Mundi.
Yeah, he's not supposed to be alive either.
He's not even supposed to be born yet. That's what.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why people are mad.
Oh,
yeah.
Huh?
That's like a big thing why people are
Which-
mad. She's like,
which
I
it
just
was-
changed the birthday. It doesn't matter.
It
Deal
was
with it.
part of the
I mean-
EU anyway, so it's like I don't understand why people think that.
Well,
here's
and
the thing. Here's the thing.
that's
Here's the
what
thing. Here's
people
the
are
thing.
complaining about. A lot
the
of
thing.
what they're complaining about is all EU stuff. And it's like,
Here's the thing. I'm gonna say it once, and then I'm not gonna say it again.
Oh,
all right?
here we go.
I'm gonna say it
Clip
once,
it.
and
Clip
all of the Star
Here
Wars
we go.
fans. That's fine. All the Star Wars fans can listen to what I'm gonna say. You can hate me for it or whatever. One, Star Wars doesn't owe you a thing. Whatever fan fiction you have in your mind, whatever you want to see happen, that is valid in your head. It's valid to feel those things. It's valid to have excitement, but they don't owe that for you. They don't owe you that story because you're not the one calling the shots. It's hard to swallow, but it's the truth. If you don't like it, turn Disney Plus off and go read a book.
Dang.
I have a cabinet full of books that I enjoy better than what Disney has put out, and I read those nightly before I go to bed. I've created my own headcanon in my mind. I've picked and choose what I wanted. It might sound heretical, but like I have my own Star Wars canon that I've fallen in love with, and I adhere to that because that's my Star Wars. You can do the same thing. If you like Legends more, read a book. If you like canon more, watch the shows. But like what we don't need is people watching the shows and then complaining about it when they could just turn it off.
Dang.
That's all I'm going to say.
You said
Sorry.
that last time that you were on.
I know, but it's just like it gets me so fired up because like I read through the comments on Instagram and stuff, and they're like, "This show sucks. This episode was worse than the last one." And I'm like, "Why are you still watching? If it's not good, like
Drama.
like just if you like the books, just like read the books, love the books." Like Star Wars is a big enough galaxy that you can like what you want without it messing up the overall story. Like technically, the Plagueis novel, as the Acolyte stands right now, the Plagueis novel still fits in the timeline, roughly, kind of. You know, like I can still slot that in if I don't, you know. So I don't know.
I love the Plagueis book too, though.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say that to be divisive or be negative. Like the thing that I love about Star Wars fans is that there are some, at least the ones that I've come in contact with personally, have been some of the most loving and most accepting people I've ever met. And that's what the fandom needs to be. And what I've seen in public is not that. And it's like legitimately heartbreaking for me. And it's for really stupid reasons. It's because people don't want to let go. They're you know, like I get that some parts of this are bad. Like I'm not going to argue with that. But like I say this because like I want Star Wars fans to be better. Like I want us to be more unified. Like we don't get to choose what we get, but what we can choose is like how to, you know, consume this media with like a positive approach. And like, and I bash on the sequels all the time, like every chance I get. But like,
Me too.
I'm never going to allow myself to get to the point that I've seen on the internet where some of these people have been just downright hateful because of this show, and it's completely undeserving. But anyways,
But that's the social media.
I know. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I still love Star Wars. I still love Star Wars fans. I just want to be better. I just want us to be better. I want us to stop making a fool of ourselves to other fandoms. I was watching a completely unrelated YouTube video from a commentator that is not a Star Wars commentator who made a comment about Star Wars fans and about how toxic they were and no one wanted to like be involved with them anymore. And that was that hurt. I was like, we used to be good. Or at least,
no,
about
I don't
that.
know.
well,
Episode one came
maybe
out,
just the circle of
Look What
friends that
Happened to
I
Mod
had.
Best. Like that was kind of not good.
Well,
know-
yeah, that's true. That, you know,
Like-
maybe you know what? Maybe we were never. Maybe we weren't that. But
We've had good times and bad times, but like if you think about it, like our parents hated episode 1,
yeah,
like
and
definitely,
I
and we
know,
like it, and
I know it's because Star Wars means so much to people, and
Mhm.
I'm not making light of that. Like I know that there are people that love Star Wars and that Star Wars has had an effect on their lives much deeper than mine, and I don't want to discredit that. And I know that it can be painful when you've come to love something so much and then you see it change before your eyes without being able to have a say in that. Like I don't want to discredit or discount those feelings because they're valid. It's just we got to turn the complaining down a little bit because it's gotten really bad.
In conclusion, you like the finale episode.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Moving on. We jump into scene by scene of this. And so like normally when there's like crazy episodes, when there's like 10 different like storylines, we do one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be kind of hard to do that. So we're going to try and do it chronological as it played out because everything was like intertwining with everything. So it's kind of we're going to wing it this time, try and get through this. So,
Okay.
Opening scene. Osha is in the Cortosis
I
helmet,
love that they picked up right from there.
and she's just doing her breathing, you know, super loud, super crisp sound. And Chimera comes in like, yes, got her. Yep, this is it. And then she starts like twitching, like she's getting possessed, and then seemingly she's using the magic that Mother Anastasia used to possess Torben, and she possessed Chimera without her. I don't think she was actually trying to do it, but
Was that the interpretation?
because his eyes went black the
I did
same
see
way
that.
Torben's
see
went
that.
black.
Yeah.
And so I think that she was hacking into her childhood teachings, and she was manifesting without her trying to. And he had, because it goes back and forth between him being in shadows and it being light in the room.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense, actually.
Because
That
when
makes a lot
Torben
more
was
sense.
possessed, the same scene went to all shadows. And so you see him when his eyes are normal color, it's when he's in the shadow realm. And like when it's black, it's him trying to like fight. You see him fighting what's going on to like take the helmet off. And so
That's true.
Torben wasn't strong enough to, you know, fight through the possession, but Chimera was able to fight enough to like pull the helmet off.
That's cool.
And so she takes the helmet off, and you see 2 red lines on Osha's eyes. And she says that she saw May kill Sol, and she had a red lightsaber. And so
I don't think she said red.
No, she didn't.
Because I just watched it right before we started recording, and it was just lightsaber. She was holding a lightsaber, but she wasn't using it.
She wasn't using it, but she killed.
But you see the red lightsaber blades in her eyes. That's what that is.
Well, maybe,
Huh?
but she didn't say red.
Yeah, she didn't say red.
She didn't.
Promise you.
Okay. Well, either way,
I didn't see what you were talking about in her eyes.
The red eyes.
Yeah, I didn't see that either. Actually.
Oh, that's very blatant. There's 2 red lines on one on each eye, implying that she's seeing a red lightsaber.
Oh.
Like if you go look at it, it's very
I'll pull it up right now.
obvious. Like
Do it.
so, like that begs a question: like when Jedi have visions, is it like actually in their eyes that they're perceiving, not just in the mind or in the Force, which is interesting to think about. But
yeah, I'm not going down that rabbit hole because
that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah,
You're going down a path I don't think I can
can't
follow.
But she has this vision, and Chimera is kind of happy about this, I guess. Like, but Osha is like, well, the future isn't set in stone. Like, this doesn't have to happen. We can stop her, type of thing. And Chimera's like, well, how are you gonna get there? We got one ship. And she's like, well, I know where she is.
I don't see red eyes.
No, there's red lines, like right on her eye, like on the pupil of her eye. It's literally glowing red lines. You're looking at your phone, so you can't.
I watched it on my TV both times. And
I did too. I'm not making it up. I bet you $100 right now.
No, like I believe you.
And so
I completely missed it.
So
I thought her eyes were just weird looking. I mean, I see what you're seeing, but I don't know if that's what that is. But maybe you're right.
Look at it on a TV, not on your phone, when the line is literally like a millimeter long. But so Chimera's like, "Oh, how are you get there? We got one ship." And she's like, "Well, I know where she is. I will go there, but you'll just have to just come with me."
She said that she had a saber in her hand, but she didn't use it. She said nothing about red.
Okay. And so he's basically like, all right, once we get to wherever this planet is, we'll land, and whoever gets there to May 1st wins or whatever. Like they're going to have a race. He says, well, let's race. And she's like, okay. So, all right. That's kind of an interesting thing where they're going there together and they're racing to find someone on that planet.
Just had to carpool.
Yep. Which is, it's kind of like weird. Like,
yeah, it's like
they're stuck in the same ship together, like trying to hump the same person. Like, well, I guess, but I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Well, that whole thing, like,
yeah.
The whole thing bothers me because he killed everyone in front of her eyes, and she instantly was like, "Yeah, let me travel to a different planet with you."
It's because he was naked.
Yeah.
All right, we're not talking about that episode anymore.
Clouding her vision.
So it then jumps to Sol and May, and they're hovering above Brendock.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just after, Sol telling May what happened on Brendock all those years ago. And he's just sitting there, and he's like, we're waiting for the Jedi to show up. And, May, she's strapped down. And,
he really should have taken Pip.
Yeah, I'm like, why didn't you take Pip? Whatever.
I'm gonna chalk it up to him being emotionally distressed and not thinking clearly, but also he should have taken Pip.
Yeah.
So,
also the whole Pip thing, I'm not like, apparently it's just like an iPhone. You push 2 buttons and hold it, and then it just resets, and now it's yours.
Factory reset. Yep. And so, which the whole thing is like, if he's explaining, like, last week's episode was what he was telling her. Like the whole time she's just sitting there listening to the story when she could have used Pip the whole time to, like, get out? Or like, was she that happy to hear this whole story?
Well, she needed to hear it from him. She needed to hear.
She wanted to hear it from him
Yeah.
to confess.
Right. And so he said that he needed to prove, or having May and turning her in with the Jedi when they arrive is the proof that he needs to show that there was a vergence on the planet. And they're arguing, and he says, "You're not twins, you're not even sisters, and then that's when she takes and zaps him.
Yeah.
And
He gets cut off twice in this episode,
Mm-hmm.
both times about bodily harm, mind you, before saying something really important. And the first,
that's the whole show as a whole.
Yeah.
They're always gonna tell you something, and then they don't. Like,
it's because you're this, and then he gets shocked, and then the last time it's like, I did it because and he was gonna say I love you, like as a daughter.
Yeah.
And then she does a little squeezy on his throat. So
yep. So she runs, and Drew's boy Basil there is watching her.
Dude, what the heck? Dude, why?
So
why is he a freaking thing anymore? Like it was.
Why
it was,
is he okay? Why is he a thing at all? Like the Jedi can't search for people.
Listen,
they don't have powers.
When it first happened,
people.
The Basil Battalion was a thing. People loved Basil. Okay,
no one loved Basil. People love Basil.
No, a lot of people loved Basil during that first appearance.
Okay,
a lot of people did, but like
when they're doing the Fellowship of the Ring and walking on the mountains together.
But it's like that one was the one that was like this is completely out of character. Well, because like he stops May, and then he helps May. And I'm like, whose side are you on?
Out. Yeah.
Yeah, whose side her out? Whose freaking side are you on? Okay. Weasel boy.
Yep.
I don't his character is just doesn't make any sense to me at all, because you don't need a tracker when you can use the Force to sense things. Like, and that's a thing, the biggest issue I have is that you can sense when when Jedis die, all other Jedis feel it. That's a known thing in canon. Like, that's a thing.
Not all the Jedi.
But a lot of Jedis do. Like, Yoda would have felt all these people dying. Like, he would have. So, like, that bothers me. Yeah. And then, like, so, like, they're on these planets, they can't feel it, but then when Homegirl gets there, she can literally read the entire room by the Force.
Well, I don't think it was reading the entire room. I think she just was, like, spreading out her senses and found something that she was very familiar with.
Well, I think she has that ability, psychometry or whatever, that like Quinlan and Cal Kestis has, and I guess Ahsoka has it a little bit too.
So does Soul.
So I think when Soul was experiencing that, I think in this episode, I think that was just him
memories,
which is his own memories, thinking through everything.
But I just don't understand that whole tracking character. Like, it just bothered me.
Like, I understand like what they're trying to do with like, oh, Yord was the only one that could speak his language, so when he died, there was that language barrier. But then at the end of the day, it still didn't really amount to much importance because Soul figured out who May was on his own. So anyway, whatever.
Well, and then also at the end of this one, all the Jedis go and track, and he's making all this noise in the distance, like barking like a dog. And then they get to the tree.
Dogs sound like that, but if your dog sounds like that, you need to bring him to the vet right now.
Well, actually, funny because that one person that we went to her funeral, their neighbor dog sounded like that. Because you remember they got their vocal box taken out. Remember that dog? I was like,
when we were camping. Yeah, I remember that.
That's literally what the dog sounded like.
Anyway,
what the heck?
I don't know. I know, but I don't know why you're talking about it
right now.
So anyway, May is trying to escape not to an escape pod, but to like an escape ship, which is kind of cool. Kind of like the Phantom on the Ghost, like a little mini ship. She goes in there, and Soul had every opportunity to force pull her back and didn't.
Yeah.
His
if he
soul
can-
doesn't know how to use the force on people.
If he can turn the corner and catch 2 bridges and hold them there for a little bit, he could definitely turn the corner, saw her, and pulled her back.
Or he could also pick up 2 50-pound kids off the bridges and pull them. So clearly he just is really bad at pulling people.
Yeah. Maybe it's like a Jedi thing. Maybe he doesn't want to use it on people.
Maybe. And so she gets in the thing, and before she closes the door, she steals Han Solo's line.
Oh yeah.
Or I guess technically because she said it first, Han Solo stole it from her.
Okay, well, we're not doing that.
But
It's canon. You heard it here first.
Yep. So she closes the door and then she leaves, and then
What's the
Solo's
line,
"All right."
Jeremiah? I thought you were going to tell us the line.
No. And so Sol then goes to like his own cockpit.
That whole sequence was really freaking cool, though.
What happened so far? What's going to happen?
What's going to happen?
Okay, I was like, it's kind of not that
Yeah.
great, but it was just
No,
running down a
the
hallway.
the whole ship
It was
sequence
really
was
cool.
yeah.
The way she ran down that hallway, it was just so realistic.
Woo.
But yeah, so they chase, or he chases her out, and so
he said they chase. They
yeah,
did chase.
They did a chase.
They did a
scene.
chase. Yeah.
And so May goes into like the ring around the
Rosie?
planet or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
Asteroid.
there's like, it's like a
Mhm.
dual ring with like little connector things, and
That was really cool.
she goes in there and is like, oh, he's not gonna follow us, his ship's too big.
And then the freaking Big
Saul's
Mac
like,
semi trailer.
hold my
behind her.
lightsaber. And so I guess it would look cool. Yeah, I liked it. It was interesting.
I thought it was sweet. Like, it was
Yeah.
a fun scene, especially when it like flipped on its side and stuff,
Yeah.
and she like rolled over. I thought it was really
drifting
fun.
in space.
And it was
that
like,
was the
to
camera.
my
work was
knowledge,
really
is
cool.
that like the only flying that we got in this entire show, really?
Yep.
Because we had no space battles at all in the show.
No.
And
No.
this is not really a space battle either. So like this is
It
the
was just a
closest thing we
chase.
got.
No, because he was about to pop off and
So
take
that's
her
the
out.
question. Was he trying to shoot her down, or he trying to like
Hooker.
do something else?
The
Yeah,
world
but
will never know.
We don't
Because
know.
The question is, well, why would Basil like pull the electrical wires right when he's about to do something, when I was about to lock onto her? Like,
I feel like
was it because he was going to shoot her down?
Maybe.
But I don't think
I
that.
think-
I wonder if he was trying to just disable the ship, because he wouldn't kill her with like everything that was
No.
riding on him.
he could have killed her
talking about the
multiple
virgin.
times. Yeah.
Yeah, like he needed her to prove the virgins.
And that's my issue.
I think he was
like,
going to try
what-
to disable the ship.
But
or
then, like,
even-
if she got away, though, maybe it was so like it'd be better for her to die than for her to get away. Because if she gets away, then
That's true.
he still could be. She could be a whistleblower, and
That's true.
but I still don't think he would have tried to kill her, though. Like,
No,
it seemed
I
like,
think if anything, maybe he had hooks. He was gonna trap her in.
like a tractor beam type thing.
Actually, though,
No,
I
like
kn-
just
I
like
know it,
straight
no,
up.
no,
Like
I know it.
hooks.
I know exactly what it was.
What?
You remember going to the grocery store, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't have them very much anymore, but going out and coming in, they had the gumball machines, all the 25-cent machines.
Yeah.
And in one, there was always a 50-cent option that had those sticky hands that you could get. And You
Yeah.
could spin them around.
So
It
he's a
was
frog.
a big green
Tongue.
sticky hand.
Oh.
And what it does is it shoots out the front of the ship, and it just right onto the side of the fighter, and you can't get off. And he just reels it in. Yeah, it was
It's
it was a sticky hand.
It was a hook.
No, it was a
He's
sticky
fishing.
hand. No.
Okay, fine.
No, it was
sticky.
you've heard it here first.
Either way,
And it has a kyber crystal in it because that's how they do it. And then it matches the color of their lightsabers. It
Whoa.
would have been blue. With a blue sticky hand, blue raspberry flavor.
ooh,
Because I always wanted to eat those because I thought they were gummies and they weren't. Do you remember the feet gummies and like the big long gummy watches? Do you remember those?
yes.
Yeah.
I think they still sell them at like the candy store at the MOA. But anyways, this has nothing to
I
do
need to
with
go find one of those.
why a little monster thingy, rat, whatever he is, unhooked and tore apart the plane, like
Yeah,
the ship.
I'm be real with you. That
What
that
was
part,
the
none of that
point?
made
And
sense to me.
the
I was
thing
like,
is, like,
it just needed to happen because of the plot. That was a plot.
but
thing.
here's the problem though.
Yeah,
Like,
tell me.
she set up the whole thing like, oh, he's too big to be down here. Like,
Uh-huh.
it could have just been he hit one of those pillars, and that's what stopped him from shooting. And then she got away, and he
Yeah,
had
I mean,
like,
they could have done it a lot better.
like,
Or
like,
even if she crashed, like he shot out one of her engines and she plummeted the same way and fell and did the exact same thing.
I mean, I think it would have been better if he lost control and nicked her while
Like,
he was
bumped
losing
into
control.
her?
Yeah, like because of the rocks. But yeah.
it's like
either
I
way,
don't know
like
why
what
they
was the
did the.
point?
I just don't understand why they used Basil to do it. Like, they could just
Yeah,
they
I'm with
set
you on
it
that
up.
one.
They
I'm with
set
you.
it up so that he would crash into a pillar or something because he was too big to fit in there. Like,
I'm really mad Basil didn't eat it. They killed so many characters in the show, and somehow this little dude was able to survive. I wish like
Also, he was just like he
was running around the entire time too.
I know what it is. I know what it is.
what?
Basil's the Sith Lord.
Him and Jar Jar. They're
Well,
Yes,
the
that's
thing is,
exactly
like,
what
Jar
it
Jar's
is.
Palpatine.
the Jedi could only run as fast as Basil could lead them. Like, they would
Yeah.
have gotten to the tree
That's
like
what
10
I'm
minutes before
saying.
Kymir got there.
And the tree wasn't that far from the building either.
Basil intentionally slowed them down.
Honestly.
Basil's the Sith Lord. Basil
Because
is Darth Plagueis.
in that whole thing, Basil, you can hear him barking in the distance.
Yeah.
And then she's like, one more
He's-
thing. And then
he's
she
wa-
hugs
he's-
him for like, she hugs
Yeah,
her
he's
sister for
warning
like
them.
45 minutes.
Yep.
And then they come. Honestly, yeah, because he didn't make any noise when he tracked anything else.
Yep.
And then he just started.
He's been
noise.
orchestrating the whole thing.
Honestly, he might.
Basil's the Sith Lord?
Maybe he got possessed.
No, he is the Sith Lord.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
is he Dark Plagueis, like
Well,
yeah.
Padawan?
I just
No,
want to.
he's Darth Plagueis' master. Instead of
Oh.
Tenebros, he's Tenebasil.
But
Makes
see,
sense.
what I'm really excited for is the Basil Binks show. Like,
Okay, well, it's gonna have to have a
That-
better name than that.
the Basil Binks.
That's very like
We are
1960s
Basil,
variety show,
Basil.
60s, 70s variety show. Like,
Well,
nah, I'm not digging that.
as long as the same person that wrote the Ewok song does their
Oh my
theirs.
Oh yeah.
The Droid's theme song was so much better.
We are. I should download that soundtrack on my button
Please
so that
don't.
anytime Andrew's on, I can just play.
Droids was so much better.
Oh, we're not having this debate right now.
Yeah.
All right,
It's gonna be
so
half the episode.
Basil pulls a line.
Yep.
Soul can't go any further.
Nope.
May crashes a little bit and she starts spinning.
Yep.
Then she crashes on the planet. And
I like that they muffled. They took out the music completely
Yeah.
when she hit. It's always a little bit more impactful when that happens.
right.
So
And so this is a side note. I don't know. So when I was playing video games today, and like there was a issue
What
with
were
the
you
audio,
playing?
Horizon Forbidden West,
oh, okay.
and
Not
for so-
Outlaws.
no, that hasn't come out yet.
Oh,
Not
Minecraft.
But like I was playing and like the environment sound effects disappeared, and it was just like my character's like sounds that she makes when she's fighting, and like
Happens all the
a
time.
little
Me,
bit of the
Fortnite.
music. This is like the first time it's ever happened. So I was like trying to play
It's a
without
glitch.
sound.
oh, bless you.
Bless you.
Excuse me. So that was really weird trying to like fight and not being able to hear. I was
That
like,
happens to me all the time in Fortnite. I don't know why.
weird.
It's
Hmm.
weird. I think before we get any farther,
Dude, we're like 5 minutes into this episode.
but we're an hour into the podcast, and I think
Someone
we
needs a
should-
potty break right now.
we
That's
need
why
to
he's trying
lock
go.
in. We need to lock in, and maybe some coffee and tea can help us lock it back in.
He needs a bathroom break.
He needs a bathroom break. So if
Okay,
you
you
like
guys.
coffee or tea, take a listen to our sponsors today from Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea out of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor of today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that whether you live in the Twin Cities or not, you can get their coffee beans delivered straight to your door by ordering them online. They even have a subscription service that ensures you never run out of amazing coffee. If you've been looking for some new coffee to try or a way to elevate your normal coffee routine, now's your chance. Head over to wesleyandrews.cc, use the code Empire Radio, that's with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, to get 15% off your first purchase of any bags of coffee or a coffee subscription. I can't think of a better deal. Get 15% off some great coffee, support a small business, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
All right, cool. Well,
Oh, what's up, Tito?
so there's a crash, and then it jumps to Coruscant. And
Coruscant.
Yep. And we see Vernestra Rowe walking, and the stellar Jedi Mog, who's very competent, was like, hey, Senator so-and-so is in the control room. And she's like, you let
Also,
him in the control room?
That wasn't in the temple, was it?
Yes.
I think
thought
it
it was-
is, yeah.
I thought
Did
it
they
was in
show
the. I thought it was in the tower that was in the foreground.
True, they did.
Because
show
the
ta-
temple was really far off and like Loki out of focus a little bit.
That's actually true.
But there are other Jedi walking around, though.
Maybe maybe they have two offices.
I don't know.
It's the temple south.
It's West Side or nothing.
What? Anyway, they're at the Jedi Temple,
Kendrick
and
baby.
he says that the Senator so-and-so is in the control room, and she's like, you let him in the control room? And he just kind of like didn't say anything and just said, mm-hmm. And she's just mad at him, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's literally what it is. You look at the subtitles, it says, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's so annoying.
And so she goes in, and it's the senator, and this was the guy that was mentioned, I think, in episode 2, where he wants to do an external review of the Jedi and their practices. And so she says that there is or he's like, I think he says something like, something's going on, like, you didn't want to tell us something, what's going on? She's like, well, there's a murder investigation. He's like, what, you didn't want to tell the Senate? And she's like, well, unless there's other threats going on, we're not obligated to tell the Senate. This is a independent investigation. And he's like,
she's a dirty cop.
I don't know.
Nah,
She
she's got some
dude.
stuff. She's got some stuff.
There-
She's skirting around some stuff.
Well, she's just
covering up
trying
some
to
stuff.
cover up what happened with Chimera, because
Yeah, but she's messy.
I don't
trust her at all.
I think if you guys say she's messy, then you have to say Soul is messy.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He was.
But I wouldn't.
I think she's more messy than him.
100%.
No.
100%.
No, I okay.
Yeah.
Here's my hot take. I don't think Soul did anything wrong.
I don't think he did either.
So then how is
I think he should have been more honest.
I think he did something wrong by one, choosing OSHA and not actually trying to figure out a way to get both the girls. I think that's like that was wrong. And then also lying the entire time instead of admitting that he killed their mom because he had to, because he thought that May was literally getting taken away. They never even explained.
No, they did explain. He explains the whole thing. We'll get about later about how he had to kill the mother for a reason.
Yeah.
We'll
Like,
get to
so. Yeah.
We'll get to the whole thing. But I don't think he did anything wrong, and so I don't think that whatever she's covering up is any worse than anything he did.
Well, it's not that she It's not the thing that she's covering up. It's the way that she's covering it up that is really sketchy, because I feel like she's doing more to protect her reputation and herself than Soul was doing.
I think she's trying to protect the Jedi as a whole, the image of the Jedi.
Still though,
She's
it's sketchy.
she's like the PR person.
Yeah, but
for
it's
the Jedi.
still sketchy. Like she threw her friend under the bus after his death.
But remember, she kind of threw him under the bus before his death.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, she's being a little.
Because didn't she say that,
She's
like,
snitching.
didn't she say to the other ones that he was the one that did it in the first place?
I don't think so.
She said it to the senators at the end.
I thought she said before too.
No, no.
That she said in a different episode
No.
that she was afraid that Sol was the one that was killing all the Jedi that died.
No,
No,
Mog
did.
said that like Master Soul did. So she's like, well, that's a huge accusation. Like she denied it, like,
and then she went with that story
because at this point she knows that it's Chimere because she has her speculation this whole time that it was her former Padawan.
Yeah.
So like,
All
we
I'm
know
saying is I feel like she is going to much sketchier lengths to keep this under wrap than Soul did. Also, Daddy Pops is here. What's up, my guy?
I think the conspiracy.
Listen, she threw him under the. That was dirty. That was dirty, dude. Like she was like it was his fault and he killed himself. That's tarnishing his legacy.
It is.
That's pretty messed up.
But if we look at when Osha was force choking him to death, and she's killing him,
And
he's
he
like,
said,
it's
"Okay."
okay.
Yeah.
Like,
that has nothing to do. Okay, but that has
I'm
nothing to do with
saying,
her covering it up in a bad way.
I think Soul would have been fine with what Vernestra did.
No,
Maybe.
no. There's
maybe.
no way. There's no way because he wanted to expose the Virgins and the bad guy.
Right, but
True.
it's also his fault that those other 3 Jedi are dead. Plus all the people on.
All I'm saying is she. There's a cover up and she's involved. Okay, and Soul wouldn't have been a part of it necessarily.
Also, if she would have said like, "Hey, I think that my former Padawan could be a Sith," and told the Jedi that, then maybe they wouldn't be Sith.
No, because you weren't here for our discussion, but that scar on his back is probably from her light whip.
It is.
I know that.
So like she doesn't know that he's tied to the Sith at all. There's no reason for her to think that. She's trying to cover up what she did to him.
She knows that he's following the dark side though.
Right. But as far as the Jedi know, Chimere's dead. Her Padawan's dead. And
I think she doesn't want her failure to get out.
Well, yeah. No one's disagreeing with that, but I don't think what she's doing is worse than what the other 4 Jedi did to cover up what happened on Brendok.
Yeah. I don't know.
Here's the thing. All the deaths from the Jedi with the 4, including Soul, and the ones that Chimere killed and all that stuff, that's blood on seemingly Soul's hands. But as far as we know, Vernestra has no blood on her hands.
That we know of.
Right.
She's a crooked cop.
Now,
it's going to happen.
I don't think she's a crooked cop.
Yeah, I can feel it in the Force. I think she's been alive too long and she's gotten drunk on power.
I'm really
and she enjoys her spot with the Jedi too much. She's corrupt.
Her lightsaber is purple.
What are you saying about purple lightsabers, Drew?
That they lean a lot closer to red than
They're
blue.
literally between red and blue.
Yeah, Revan had purple. Mace Windu had purple. That's actually proving your point a little bit more. I have purple.
Yeah, we hear it.
But we can all agree that yellow is the superior lightsaber color.
No, it's
not.
Yeah.
I do
purple.
like yellow, but I do also
it's
like
the best
purple.
color.
No, yellow is just
No, orange is the best.
No.
Yellow is just it's purple or white. If I had 2
White?
lightsabers, one would be
White is probably the worst one.
That's
Yeah,
just
because
And my
it's so
girl
rare.
has white lightsabers, and I'm saying that.
That's just a glow stick.
Yeah.
Okay, I would still purple's the best one.
Anywho, Vernestra is talking to the senator and just saying that, there's an investigation going on, blah, blah, blah. And
Andrew, that lightsaber is super distracting, bro.
I'm sorry.
Yep. and she basically says, what is your opinion of the Jedi? And it's basically the Jedi are just unchecked, or is an unchecked power that does whatever they want, and they use their teachings and the Force as like a means to exercise. It's like they're doing it in the name of the Force, but they're really doing it for themselves, the power that they wield, and they're just using the Force to cover up, their true motives and stuff like that. And so she's like, "Well, is there anything else?" Like, she's not even really talking about it. Like, anything else? And he's like, says something like, "One of these days, one of you Jedi are gonna flip or whatever. He's snap.
They're gonna
He says
snap. Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, if
And
you only
are
knew,
any
buddy,
of you
if
going to
you
be powerful
only
enough?"
knew."
And like, okay, I understand this is supposed to be a reference to Anakin, but to be fair, Anakin had millions of clones on his side to help take out the Jedi. So if it was just Anakin against 10,000 Jedi, Anakin would have lost in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but he still snapped.
He did, but
You turned her against me.
You've done that yourself.
yep. And so she's had enough talking to this guy, so she's like, opens the door.
See,
he's
she's
like,
rude. Okay,
No,
That's not
she's
true. Someone's in
offending.
your house.
confirmed.
Someone comes in
Crooked
the-
cop confirmed.
Oh, whatever. And he's
Oh.
like, "Well, I wish you good luck." Oh, wait, what is that thing that you guys say?
Yeah,
May
that guy
the
was
Force be with you. Screw that guy, dude.
Yeah.
I'm Team Vernestra all the way until.
okay. I am up until half this episode. Right now, I like, yeah, get him out of there.
I'm on
Choke
Team
him on the way
Vernestra.
out.
I mean, I
but-
think he has I think he has a point. I think the Jedi were. Well, anyways,
We've had this conversation a million times.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not saying I agree with the Sith, but
in a couple weeks, Grace is going to be on for our next book review, and I know she loves Vernestra, so it'd be interesting to ask her thoughts on.
I was
how
gonna say I'm
Vernestra-
really excited to get back to Vanessa if we ever do with her, because I feel I really want to know what Grace's opinion on her character in the show, because it feels like a lot different than her character in the High Republic novel.
Right.
There's
And
100 years.
I just started reading the next book. I'm like 6 chapters in, and there is references to Vernestra Row again, so it's kind of cool. So, Osha, and then jumps to Osha and Chimera, and they're during low tide because the walkway has opened up to the ship, and so they're just walking. And I don't know about you guys, but I think that Sith female business suit was looking kind of nice. I thought it was an interesting outfit that Osha had on, that Sith outfit. Like,
Dude, you said that, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" But yeah, it looked cool.
it looked like a woman's Sith business suit. Like,
I didn't.
I don't know. I thought it was a cool, interesting thing. I'm excited for people to cosplay that, as well as Vernestra's Jedi dress that she's wearing at the end. I thought it was a cool Jedi thing. And
Really,
so,
I hated that.
I was kind of
We'll
weird,
get there.
the 2 little patches
I-
on the shoulders, but other than that, I thought it was kind of cool because like we've never seen like a Jedi dress. Like, it's always just the same old robes that everyone wears, male and female, unless you're Ayla Secura, then she can wear whatever she wants apparently. But like, I don't know, I thought it was cool. So they're just talking, and Chimer's like, "Hey, you really should be trained." And Osha's like, "Nah, I'm good." "Are you sure? Like, one last chance." And she's like, "No, you turn me to the dark side, whatever." And he's like, "You're nothing like your."
No,
Or
she
she's like,
said, "I'm not my
I'm nothing
sister."
like. And she's like, "You're right." She didn't hesitate to say yes, type of
She
thing.
said yes right away.
And so they're walking to the ship, and this is when we get
Burr, 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 burr.
the reveal.
You ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
That's what we got.
That
That's
should
it?
have been the intro.
That's what I tried to
That
do.
should have been
but,
the intro.
No.
but no. That should have been the
Yes.
intro. Just saying.
So now I gotta like go in and edit because I was super quiet, so I have to like edit that individually to be louder.
I can play it again. So
No. And so,
Dude, it's just up the dB a little bit. It'll be
like,
fine.
the thing is, like, it was a weird camera shot where like it's inside the cave and we see a shit. I'm like, they're going to do something here, but I didn't expect a hand to reach out. And then you see this thing step out, and you see like the hood, the dark
Yep.
hood.
You see the eyes.
And I'm like, well, you see it from behind first, just the back.
Oh yeah,
the back.
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, I thought it could have been a Dementor. It could have been because you see the hand come out and you're like, whoa, that's some creepy Dementor looking stuff right there. What if it was? What if it was a Dementor?
Is that the Harry Potter thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I was
It's just a Dementor, and all of a sudden it's a very different show.
well, we got those witches turned to the black smoke thing, which is
That is true. They're just doing the dark version of apparating where they were flying through the air.
What if Harry Potter and Star Wars are in the same universe?
What if the Acolyte is young Voldemort? What if Plagueis is actually Voldemort?
What if
Or
Well, they both
Grindelwald.
don't have noses.
Yeah, Plagueis is
And-
Voldemort confirmed.
And whatever that stupid character that we hate,
Plagueis-
he's like Dobby. You know,
Yeah.
little Dobby.
loses all his hair.
No. Dobby, don't do Dobby like that. Okay, Dobby was a much better character.
Dude, I love Dobby.
Especially
Dobby's the
in the
best.
books. Dude, in the books he was so much. Anyways,
I'm just saying.
all I'm saying is Plagueis could be Salazar Slytherin.
But you could,
No nose.
you could, someone probably has given Basil a sock before to like sniff.
Yeah.
Facts.
Oh,
So
I didn't even know it.
So that's like the only scene from the whole series that
Yeah.
I remember is the sock thing. He gave me a sock. I'm free. Okay.
That whole scene was so savage
Oh my
towards
God.
Lucius Malfoy. But anyways,
but then it goes to the face, and you see Plagueis. Now he looked
Salazar Slytherin.
he looked a lot different than I was expecting him to be, because the Muns that we see in Clone Wars have a
he
much
always
taller
looked
head.
different. He always looked different.
He
But
was very
also-
similar to the novel.
Yeah.
And the skin, like the texture and color of his skin, was very reminiscent of like that, that Darth Jar Jar like hyperbolic like
Yeah.
picture
Crinkly
that someone
boys. Yeah.
like how it's like super scary looking.
Yeah.
Like it reminded me of like that skin texture and
Yeah.
stuff. So
But
I
if you
would-
look at the Plagueis novel cover, he looks
Yep.
like that.
okay, I don't doubt that. I'm just saying it's not what I expected him to look like when I was.
It's so funny because like I knew immediately. I was like,
Well,
oh yeah.
I
I
did
did
too.
too.
I did too. I knew exactly what they were doing.
But to your point earlier, it should have been at the end.
Yeah.
Would have been
It
way
should have been at the
bigger
end.
impact than us just waiting the entire episode to see if we're gonna see them again.
Yeah.
But
So we got it.
Got
There's been speculation with this entire season of like, are we gonna get him? Are we not? Are we gonna see him next season? I think it was bold. I think it was a bold move because now they have to follow up on that.
Oh yeah,
So we'll see.
like
I'm optimistic, man. I really am. I think season 2 is gonna be better than season 1.
I think they're gonna pivot a lot to make it better.
I think Dave Filoni is gonna have a harder, stronger impact in the next.
Yeah,
season.
because this show was made before he was appointed
Yep.
chief creative officer, so
Yes.
he'll definitely be more
Chief
involved.
cowboy hat
Yep.
He's gonna
liaison.
make
They
sure
still-
they do characters properly.
And so the question is then,
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck?
no, like we still don't understand, like you mentioned earlier, Andrew, like what the relationship is between Chimere and Plagueis.
It's a situation shit.
It's complicated. It seems like
yeah.
because one, with Chimere's line in episode 5, like, well, the Jedi would call me a Sith, that implied that he's saying he's not a Sith. He just is doing Sith-like things that the Jedi would label, oh, that's a Sith. But here, if Plagueis is here inside the thing where they just left.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, if it talks like a duck and it dresses like a duck,
I'll shoot it. What?
if a duck is dressing, we got bigger problems. Like,
no.
True.
if I'm walking down the street and I see a duck wearing a tuxedo, I have more questions.
It's a goose. Daddy Bones. It's a goose.
So
But
it's like, how does this whole Plagueis thing play
Here's
into
the
the
thing.
whole thing? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Here's
I
the
understand the questions are going to get answered, like you were
No.
mentioning.
That's
I
not
get
what
it.
Hey. We're done with that. Okay. I got it out of my system. All right. I feel like people are going to hate me, but it's fine. I'll maybe redeem myself.
Not
tonight.
our
See
fan group.
You with Andrew, maybe it'll be good enough that people will.
Yeah, you
Like
gotta
me
do
again.
Plagueis now.
Yeah, I guess I do. Actually,
you have
That's
to
a
do
good
Plagueis
point.
now, bro.
But shoot, what was I gonna say? Okay, but here's the thing. This is not the first time there have been 3 dark side users at a time. Okay, we had Ventress. Ventress was not a Sith. Maul. So there's precedent for this. Okay.
I get that, yeah.
Well, I'm more so saying it for the people that were complaining.
Oh.
There were people that I saw that were melting down. That were like, "This breaks the rule of 2." You know, like, and
monster sound you just
yeah,
made.
it was all the complaining on the internet. But like,
Pig squeal.
yeah,
That's what they sound like.
but like, I don't know. I am very interested about the relationship. Don't get me wrong. But like,
I don't think there's a relationship.
do you think he's just watching?
I think he's watching.
But he was
I think-
inside the cave.
Well, he
Like,
could
where
get in
they
there.
literally just walked out of
They
the cave.
don't
and-
lock the doors, Jeremiah.
It's a cave.
Yeah,
I know, but like, you're telling me that they walked out, he ran in, and then he hid and looked out to.
Well, no.
maybe he was hiding the whole time.
He found them, but while they were away, and then they came back, and that whole scene. It's possible that Plagueis saw him naked. That's what it's possible if he was creeping.
I really think, and I want to believe that
That's another good point.
Plagueis-
Maybe he was drawn to Osha
I think he was drawn to one of them, if not both of them.
because his whole thing is creating and extending life with the Force.
Mm-hmm.
So if there was a vergence and it happened, he would have picked up on it. He's got his radar going.
I really think that he's trained him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't understand what the rule of 2 is, and Plagueis is having him get Osha because he wants Osha to be his Padawan.
That's it. Plagueis was drawn by the plot, and the plot being Quimir. I love that line. Thank you, chat.
But I just think it's weird that he was in the cave that they just walked out of.
Well, maybe he's sensitive to sunlight.
And maybe I get but like, how does Osha not know if he's in the same room standing there? Like, is he like Drax when he's just standing so still you can't like see him? Like,
No. But it's a cave. Like, he could be around the corner. She didn't go, like, Quimir didn't give him a MTV Cribs tour.
And they didn't walk out of that. Do we know that they walked out of that exact door?
Yeah, they
well,
did.
where
It
else
had
would
the
they
same
would've walked out
railing.
of?
Yeah, there's only one door.
Oh,
But
okay.
there are more. You could assume that there are other entrances. There's a back door.
Either way, she didn't know that he was there.
Okay, but you've read Plagueis. The
Mhm.
Sith, and how many times did Palpatine stand right in front of Master Yoda?
Well, yeah.
No one knew who he was.
And Plagueis
could do it.
In that book, Plagueis is watching so much stuff on. He's literally he's watching
He
Anakin.
teaches Palpatine how to shroud himself in hide himself in the Force.
Yeah.
Like, Plagueis is the one who teaches Palpatine how to do it. So he could have been just around the corner.
I really think that he.
That face gets me every single time. That
I-
emoji.
I really think that Plagueis, like, he's actually just watching them, and I think it would be really cool.
That would be an
if-
interesting.
I would prefer that if he's by himself now and he's trying to find an apprentice. I would prefer that as a storyline.
Yeah.
Um,
Or if he's literally just he trained him to get Osha because he wanted Osha. They had May.
Maybe here's the
May
thing.
wasn't strong enough. There's OSHA
Maybe
out there. The whole
he
plot point
wanted-
was actually him trying to get OSHA, and then what's his name is probably just going to sacrifice himself.
So maybe he wanted the Vergence twins. We're going to coin that. That could be a band name, the Vergence twins. Maybe he wanted them because he
A
wanted to
folk
learn how to
band.
extend his life. Okay. And he is using Quimir as an attractive, dashing young Sith to get her trust to bring her in. And the
And
whole
he's-
thing is he's just gonna capture her and study her. Maybe she's not actually being trained.
Or he literally just like, thanks for bringing her to us, and then he offs the dude.
He could.
Like, I mean, Maul wasn't supposed to, like, Plagueis didn't even know about Maul.
No.
He had no idea about Maul. So
He didn't know about Maul until like right before the Phantom Menace.
mhm.
Palpatine told him about him, but it was like he's just an assassin. But he had been training him for like 16 years. So,
Yeah.
you know,
So it could be one of those things where he is using his Padawan to get OSHA.
you think Osha's going to end up the main Padawan and Kamir's going to like end up dying,
I think so.
sacrificing himself?
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. Now,
Yeah.
I don't think, like before we were saying, like Drew was really theorizing that Chimere always wanted Osha and was just using May to get to Osha eventually.
Yeah, I said that too.
Okay. Sorry. But like, I don't think that's true anymore. Like, I don't think there's any evidence for that anymore. And I think that
Well,
theory's kind of,
Osha is definitely the most powerful of the two of them.
I don't think that's true because they're literally the same. And so I think the
It's
only
true.
difference is Osha has the hate that she's been holding inside. That's what makes her so powerful.
Yes.
Yep.
So
Use
like,
your hate.
But
May could have
didn't
been
May
just
have hate against all the Jedi and everyone? And
Yeah, but
'cause
here's
she,
the-
the
here's
whole
the-
time
here's
she
the
thought
thing.
OSHA was dead.
But here's the thing. I think so. People have been talking about like why did May switch to being good so quickly? Like that didn't make any sense. Here's the thing. I don't think she was ever actually really sold. I don't think she was. I think her ability to use the Force and use the dark side was stemming from the fact that she had all of that pin-up revenge stuff going on. Then all of them died. She got it out of her system. She sees Soul. She realizes her sister's alive. Like all the things that she was using to draw her power are now kind of null and void. And then I think she realized, maybe this isn't for me. Whereas
Yeah,
Osha is really angry.
Yeah,
right,
that's true.
because she had hate for May. She blamed May for everything
Yeah.
because that's what she
It was a
thought
lot. There's a lot of
happened.
hate in there.
And then she found out later on that Soul is the one who killed Mother Anastasia, and that really unleashed her hate. So I think, like I said, I don't think Chimere knew that Osha would have been the better acolyte, and I don't think Plagueis knew either way either. But now that he's like watching this, he can probably see that Osha is going to end up being more powerful than Chimere, which is the whole point. Like Chimere would want Osha to overpower him eventually. But like I don't know, I was just thinking like, okay, Plagueis is standing there looking out the cave, and like, this, assuming that he's like the Sith Master, like he sees this as like infuriated that his apprentice is getting a Padawan or an apprentice to like take him out. But he's like also happy, like, but I need this to happen so that the Sith can get more powerful and from generation to generation. Like, it's just kind of like a funny thing to think about.
Yeah, I think it's either. I feel like he would even just sacrifice himself. Like, okay, now she's fully trained. Here's my master. I did what you asked me to do, and then he just dies. Like, I feel like that could happen. But I also really want it to be they have no idea that Plagueis is actually onto them. And he's so cocky and he thinks that he's the only one. And
So
now
my question
he has
is,
a
how did
Padawan.
Quimir learn?
I think he just learned from being a Jedi and he messed up somehow. And now
became evil.
he became evil.
It's like he just delved into delved. Is that the right word?
Dove.
So
Dove into
where did
the
he get his
dark side.
crystals from?
He bled them. It could be his own lightsaber
So
that he bled.
okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't think that would have worked.
What would have?
It has to be the lightsaber crystal of someone you kill.
Is that the new canon?
I believe that is the case. You have to kill. It has to be. So part of the process. Okay. So we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. So Daddy Palps was like, "Can we talk about how Vader almost passed out from how hard it was to bleed the kyber crystal intentionally, and Choki Girl did it without even knowing it?" And that is a good point, because in the Darth Vader comic, I actually wanted to do a comic episode on this, but
we can still do it.
He tries to bleed the crystal. And the light side, so it was the crystal of a really powerful Jedi Master, very powerful Jedi Master who was doing the Barash vow. And the light side was so strong in the crystal that it almost turned him from the dark side. Like in the Force plane. And then he overpowers it. It was very dramatic. It was really cool to look at in the comics. This was much less dramatic, much less theatrical. But here's the thing. Here's why I think it happened. So one, she was holding the crystal while she was killing the owner of the crystal. So like, that's the other thing. Vader didn't do that. It wasn't that personal with Vader. He just kind of killed him, but this is very personal, very emotional, right? Also, I think she was fully. I'm about to sneeze.
She was pretty much sucking the life out of him and the crystal at the same time.
Yes, and like choking someone is. I mean, not that I have experience with this, but I would imagine it is the most personal way to take someone's life. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very up
unless they're naked, then that's more personal, right? Like,
everyone's favorite Wikipedia says that you can bleed your own if you So,
okay, we're not reading that one.
But listen, all I'm saying is like it would make sense for it to happen much more easily if she like all of a sudden had a spur of the moment, just like super strong connection to the dark side because of her hate. She was holding the lightsaber and killing the owner of the lightsaber at the same time, and she's a virgin's baby, and so she's naturally super powerful with the Force, apparently, anyways. And so it's not inconceivable for it to be easier for her, even though, of course, Vader was conceived with the Force too, but still, like, the circumstances are different.
Also, that planet was very strong in this.
She was standing on a burgess. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he did it on Mustafar, which also was a powerful place in the dark side of the Force. But this is what we got. At the end of the day, you know, like, it's not as cool as the comics.
We'll talk about it when we get there, because I have my own thoughts about it. But
okay.
But either way, I think clearly he had to bleed a crystal though, because according to canon now, there's no red crystal anymore. There's no red cyber crystal. They're the colors, and you bleed them.
Yeah, they used to be synthetic.
Right.
The dark side users used to make synthetic red crystals because the Jedi had a monopoly on the kyber. But now it's the bleeding, which I like. I like the whole bleeding thing a lot more than just synthetic crystals.
So I think Chimere's crystal is just his one that he had when he was.
I think he has that too. He has that too.
He had two. Remember, his lightsaber comes
two, whatever.
Yeah,
it's what he had when he was a Jedi. Like, that's the whole point.
Or he killed someone because.
So it's a good question in the chat. Isn't Kylo's not bled? So Kylo's is not. He got it from the original leader of the Knights of Ren,
but it was already previously bled,
and it was also cracked,
and that's why it's like
it was. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, that was Plagueis. Quick jumps to Soul. He's landed on the planet. He turns his
Bryn docked on the planet.
He
Bryn docked on the planet.
Yep. He docked on Bryndock. He turned his beacon on. He steps out of the ship, and like he has a moment.
Basil is just there in the cockpit doing his.
I'm getting there. It's like I'm getting there. Doing it in chronological. He gets off the ship and he just like has pauses for a moment, like he senses something or he's like trying to sense something. He has this little moment, and then it jumps to Basil in the cockpit, sniffing around. Like,
I really wish she would have got yeeted.
someday.
Really bad. Out of we killed all these Jedi. You guys couldn't kill the little rat. Like, come on, dude. Doesn't make
Yep.
any sense to me.
Then it jumps to Vernestra. She's like on like a call with someone. And it's like a very like weird like.
Okay, I think there's
Who is she talking to?
dude. I swear she's hiding something.
She's probably
Okay, but-
talking to
But
Darth
who's she
Plagueis.
talking to?
Plagueis.
I don't know.
Do you think it's a senator or do you think it's another Jedi?
think no.
Or
I think she is trying to get in contact with Yoda. She's trying to make a call into Yoda discreetly, trying to get in touch with him.
I
think
she's-
Yoda's in on the cover up.
That's
think
probably
Yoda's
true.
dirty?
But I don't think she
Yeah.
has
Oh,
difficulty. I don't think she has
Yoda's-
any difficulty getting in contact with Yoda. I think
Okay,
she's
well-
like. I don't think she's part of the council, but I think she's like a very prominent like
their
mediator.
representative.
And so
She's their voice.
yeah, like she's
She's like the
connected.
face of the Jedi for the Republic, right?
And what a better position to do things shady in the dark.
Well, she was probably on the phone with Plagueis.
Palpatine.
With Plagueis.
Yeah.
It's like, what a plague! Did you see them?
Flaky boy.
So I don't know who she's talking
Play
to.
geezer.
And so she's talking, and then Mog comes in
Freaking mom.
Another one that I wanted to get eaten.
and just says that Soul's beacon has been started, and she's like, where? And Brendock. And she's like, why didn't we think of that? Of course that's where he was going to go. And she's like, gather as many Jedi as you can without drawing any suspicion. And I'm like, so many Jedi are about to die because it's not enough where the Jedi would really pay attention, but it's still going to be a lot where it's going to be super cool seeing
Like I said,
a Dark
wanted
Lord
them
of the Sith
all
show up
to
and kill them
be
all.
Slaughtered.
Um,
Talking yeeted, burnt to a crisp, cut with lightsabers. I
Yep.
want it just
and so later on, if you count, including Vernestra, I think there was a dozen Jedi there. So
like a baker's dozen or like a dozen.
a dozen. If it was a
Dozen,
Baker's dozen, I would have
Is it
said
cheaper
a
by the
Baker's
dozen?
dozen.
Dude,
No.
there's nothing cheap
Steve
about
Martin?
having a dozen kids. I'll tell you that.
Well, if you
Are you telling us something? There's 11 more coming?
No, heck no.
He said we're actually having
Stop.
11 babies.
I'm just saying, if you had 11 more kids, you'd get your own TV show, and you get all these sponsors, and it'd be pretty
Oh,
cheap.
you do not want that. You do not want to do that. Never ends well.
So, and then we see Osha and Chimere arrive, and
Was it
They-
weird for anyone else that she could just like turn off his pod of the ship?
it's not that it was weird. It's like we've never seen it before in Star Wars. It was kind of funny though,
Did she just happen to end up in like the main pod?
because she was the one that knew where it was.
Okay, well, you didn't have to be so snippy about it, Jeremiah.
I wasn't. I was being straight into the
Jeez.
point.
It's fine. It hurt.
I was
It's
I
fine.
was less passionate than you were earlier on when you were doing your little
It's
TED
fine.
talk.
No, my ego will recover.
And so he's like, dang it, I can't say anything. So he's just like kind of annoyed, but like he's like surprised that they're at Brendock, which I felt like it was kind of obvious. Like Vanessa should have known that Soul was gonna go there, and he should have, they're probably gonna go to Brendock. So, and immediately Osha is like, oh, they've already made it here. And so like this is now I'm kind of like at this point, Soul and May are there. Vernestra is sending who knows how many Jedi at this point to Brendock. They just arrived. Now this is where I'm starting to get a little hyped. Like, yeah, all these people coming together on this one thing, like it's happening. This is gonna be fun. And then Soul sees Osha and Chimere's ship come in. And then we see Soul just walking through the ruins of the facility. And okay, the biggest question I have from this whole entire episode: why are there no witch bodies where they all died when he's
There's
walking
no
through?
bodies.
Yeah, where are they?
I think the Jedi covered them up.
They got rid of the bodies?
Yeah, they got rid of.
I mean, they could have burned
True, that whole
scavengers.
place was kind of burnt out.
Scavenger.
But-
I mean,
but
it's
the-
16 years.
Or like most witches, they probably just
No, because they're already dead. Like
at a
we
certain
see,
point they.
because
But were they really dead?
yes,
Yes, they're dead.
Do we know that for sure?
yes,
Mm,
because they say they're all
mm.
killed.
But do they know that for sure? Because it looked like they just passed out.
That if that's
You
what
mean to tell me that her breaking the control over Kilnaka killed them all?
yeah, that's
Yes, that's the whole.
that's the whole point.
Okay,
That's
that's
a
a
whole-
weak move.
So then you're telling me that only Mother Anastasia died?
I mean, not necessarily.
That's the
No,
whole
that-
point.
Maybe
They all
that's the
died.
thing.
But what if they passed out and then the fire just,
No, that was.
or they
those-
died of smoke
she-
inhalation?
She
It's a
knew that
real
she killed
thing.
them. Okay, true, but she knew that she killed them all, which is why she also tried to cover it up. Because if it was just on
maybe
Soul,
May went back and buried them all.
No.
Because she said she waited, but we don't know for how long.
No,
I
because
think
it
she
looked
said
like-
she waited for like a day or two or something like that.
And then she went back and she buried them all.
I think they. I mean, it's been so long. They probably all just got eaten by animals or whatever. You know.
But
what I
there'd
mean?
still be like bones and skeletons and
Not if they're bone eater animals.
Yeah, it's Star Wars, bro.
Listen, we know in this show you can write anything in.
yeah. But the
So-
only way I don't think there's any big enough animals to climb up that whole entire wall.
What if there's an animal that solely climbs mountains to eat on bones? It's Star Wars.
Well,
Also, Jeremiah, half
yeah.
the show is poorly written, so I
there's
think.
that too. Oh, we'll go with that. It was bad writing. That's what. There should have been skeletons all over the floor. It would have been way better. So like, he's
As-
looking around.
You're
and
right.
he's
It would have been.
having memories of all the scenes of where he is. You hear like they're doing their chanting thing. Like when he's walking by, he goes to where he caught the bridges. Yes, just like
Nemo.
Moana.
Nemo.
Oh.
Maybe is this Mount Wanahakalugi?
I
That's
knew
it's
it.
actually a known fact in canon that mountain was in the tank was modeled
Cool.
after the
Makes
fun.
sense.
Um,
It's Disney.
so while he's walking around, getting all depressed because like he's reliving all this stuff, Osha and Kaimir are at the door at the bottom, and she's like, "This is the only way in unless you want to climb." And she looks up, and then she looks away, and he's disappeared. And he's like talking through the force to her, like there's another
So-
way.
For a second, I thought he was doing some projection.
Okay.
That's it.
So then a second later, what did you think?
I don't know. Well, when he showed up and I was like, oh, he just did the Batman thing.
Or is he no magic and he just poofed into black smoke and then just teleported
yeah.
himself up there?
You're saying he's a Death Eater.
I'm saying he's using
does have the
same
he
magic
had the
that
mask.
the witches used.
Oh, or that, yeah. Sorry, I was back on Harry Potter.
Yeah, we know.
Because that could have been it, but like, I don't know. So he disappears and she's like, crap, I got to figure out how to get up here because I'm not climbing this whole thing. So she starts trying to slice it by cutting wires and whatever. So she eventually makes her way in through that door.
Oh, that's a good point. Or is he a manifestation of May and Osha? Well, that would be weird.
I
The
don't
fighting.
know what that means.
Yeah, it's a good point. Never mind.
Um,
It was interesting for a few minutes or a few seconds.
and so, and so then Soul, he's walking through the facility and he's yelling for May, like trying to find her. And then Kymir's like, "Thank you for bringing her here," or whatever, something like that. And then it was on like Donkey Kong, and they started fighting. And I really liked the fight here. I think this was better. This fight here was better than from episode 5. Oh, but
100%.
now episode 5 was still the best, I think, choreography in Star Wars for lightsaber duel live action. But this specific scene, I think, was just because it wasn't chaotic. It was more
Focus one-on-one.
focused one-on-one, and you could really like see everything that was happening. Because one, it's not in the dark. It's also not covered around by trees and stuff. So like you actually see everything going on. I thought it was great. I love them cutting through the bridge like
Yep.
walkway thing. That was, we need to see more lightsabers hitting the environment. Like episode 3, Anakin versus Obi-Wan, when they're going through the little hallway thing and it's like sparks.
Yeah.
Like I like that. But here this was way better. It was cutting through
Yep.
everything. And great wire work when they jump backwards, and like I thought that was great.
I really enjoyed that his lightsaber is slightly longer when he has it together, and then when he pulls it apart, the longer blade gets a little shorter.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I thought it was really cool because like you're going to be fighting more close quarters with 2 blades. And so it was smart because with the longer blade, he can keep people at bay more. But when he needs to pull out the other one, the longer one gets just a little bit shorter, so it's more maneuverable. I thought it was really cool.
So does that mean that it's longer because it's using 2 kyber crystals?
I think
Potentially.
so.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize that his second one was so short. In the first time we see it, because we just see it kill Jackie, but we don't really actually see him fight with 2. I don't think
He
other
does a
than that.
little. I think
He
he does a little bit.
yeah, but you
but-
can't really tell. You're right, Jeremiah.
Like, I
Like
don't.
it
'cause
kind
that's
of took me a little bit off guard because it's even shorter than like Ahsoka's second lightsaber was.
Yeah.
right, because hers is just like 20% shorter, but like
Yeah.
this one's like
This is like a pocket dagger.
this is this is
So
like
it's-
less
I mean,
than
it's like
half.
a
It's less
it's like a
than half.
Tonto.
It's like the size. The hilt is like the size of Yoda's hilt.
Yeah.
Like it's super small.
And so it was just really fun. I really liked the whole when he throws the sabers
it
and
was
he
so
puts his
freaking-
saber away, and then like he just
So freaking cool.
one, I thought he was gonna catch him, and then like try and
Anakin
Anakin him. Like,
Yeah.
I thought that would have been cool. I really liked the triple kick thing, but
Oh, yeah.
I wish that like the third kick like it was to his mask or something, to his helmet. Because it was just 3
Yeah.
straight to the chest. It would have been cool if he like tried to
kicked
like
it off.
kicked his helmet off or something.
True.
But
Yeah, this is one of my favorite fight scenes.
I
of
also
all Star
liked it
Wars.
because you can tell though that he purposely tried to not hit the helmet, and like he didn't have his
Yeah.
wrist guard on. So there's multiple times where if he would have had his wrist guard on, Soul's lightsaber would have went out, but he
Yeah.
didn't, and you can
Yeah.
tell there was like certain angles where he could have actually like went for the head, but he didn't. He couldn't because he knew that his lightsaber was gonna.
I'm telling you, you set up problems in the fight where one of them has to solve them. It's really good.
I didn't realize this until I was watching a reaction video of people, explaining what they were watching. And so there's a scene when their blades get reversed,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I'm like, why is he like? Why is it like this? I didn't really get what's going on. But Chimera was trying to disable
Yes.
his. I
Yeah.
didn't catch that. But
Yeah.
here's the thing: Soul could have turned his saber off.
Well, he did.
Chimeras would have hit his own helmet and disabled it, and then he could turn his back on, and then he would have been.
Well, he did. I'm pretty sure he turned it off. Because I know. So here's the thing. I know it looks like it hits his helmet, but Soul turns it on immediately after that, which is not what we saw it do in the forest.
Yeah.
I feel like if it had been a full like cortosis hit, he wouldn't have been able to ignite it right away. I think he knew, and that was when he did it at the last second and then turned it back on.
I'd have to watch it. I don't remember him turning it off.
Yeah, he
I have
does.
it pulled up right now.
Yeah.
We're also forgetting this entire time May and Osha are also fighting.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Um,
Matching each other move for move.
so
Also,
they're fighting. So I'll just finish this fight, and then we'll go to the OSHA stuff.
yeah,
OSHA May
this
stuff.
this fight was S tier. So
Um,
freaking good.
Now, is this the first time we've seen?
Yeah, he turned it
Like-
off. He turned it off.
See,
So
I knew it.
he pulled it up, and you can see the sparks bouncing off the helmet, and it clicked, in Soul's eye, like his face realized what was happening. So then when Kymir pulled it at the last second to try to get him to hit his helmet, he turned it off and then he turned it back on.
Yeah.
So you
'Cause
can
I was
actually
like, there's
see
n-
him actually turn it off.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way it would have rebounded
No.
that quick if it hit his helmet. It's
So
really
that's
such a freaking
So
cool
so
fight.
why didn't Kymir's thing hit his own helmet then when he
Because
just
he was control. He had control of himself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he went like this, and then Kymir like swung to the left and missed his helmet.
Yeah.
But he did break his saber though.
Well,
That shot.
We're getting there. I'm
I
trying to
thought
finish.
I thought he killed him.
I thought we were gonna have a sick like samurai like he falls over
Like
thing,
Obi-Wan to
but
Maul
still-
scenario.
but still it was a.
Well, I guess we're already there. So
I
yeah,
mean, we
so then
are
he just-
there. It's like the
he-
next
He
second.
cuts his saber in half, and then the
Listen,
fight's over. Okay.
The freaking May and Osha fight. That's it. They fight, and they're move for move. They're fighting each other. They're completely in sync. Also, as someone who has done martial arts and done blocking against other people's forearms, the as hard as they were hitting each other's forearms in that shot, it had to have been so painful. Like, not obviously they didn't do it in real life, but like that is not the way to fight someone. Okay, bone against bone like that, it's gonna hurt. So don't do that. If you get in a fight at school or something, first of all, don't get in a fight. But if you do, don't smack bone against bone if you can help it. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
All right, so they meet up in their bedroom. And,
Oh, we're not going to do the rest of the fight?
Well, you guys already jumped to it. Like they cut his saber in half, and that was it.
Okay,
Like,
but that
we
would
already got to the end. There's nothing else.
He
to
could have
talk
killed
about.
him, but instead he just took the top off too. That's precision.
Mm-hmm. He could have
So
killed. I
freaking
feel like
cool.
he could have
Why
killed.
is that-
He could have killed him
But what's so significant about just the top off?
because he wanted to disarm him, not kill him.
But why didn't you just? What's the difference between that and cutting it in the middle of the blade?
Because he would have hit his chest if he would have.
Yeah, it's way more controlled. It was more impressive to do it that way.
Because if he would have hit
Oh.
the center of the
Oh.
saber, he probably would have hurt him.
I think the only reason it's like that is so they could show the kyber crystal. So then when it
Well,
happens to souls, you see the kyber crystal, and you see that Kymir has a red one.
that
and he has
definitely
a blue one.
helps.
I think that's the only reason. Then.
I think it's really cool.
I
And
think
it
it's
shows how
both.
skillful he was. Yeah.
It was really cool to see the red kyber crystal sticking out of it too. I thought that was pretty dope.
But the thing is, I feel like every in Clone Wars when we see the Padawan episodes, like the kyber crystal is like in the middle of the hill.
This is 100 years before it.
I know,
Dude,
but
see how
like,
fat those things are? There's a lot of things wrong with these
I don't know.
lightsabers. Like, if you want to go down that path, I don't know if I can follow it because those lightsabers are also baseball bats.
I don't
Like,
know.
they're huge, and 200-300 years prior to that, there were backpacks. So
I'm saying
I explained that to Tanner, and that's how he was okay with it.
here's the thing. They said that the lightsabers were thicker because they had the batteries in the hilt. Right? But I know for a fact that there are saber fighting ready sabers, NeoPixel sabers that are just as thin as they need to be. So like I don't know what their power requirements are for those sabers, but all I'm saying is they could have been a lot thinner if they wanted them to be.
No, they could have. I mean, you look at this saber that I have from.
Yeah. And they make those with blades that you can put in them that are for dueling, like straight up for like taking a beating.
And these ones, I believe this one's like chargeable.
Yeah.
So I would say that it's similar to why Darth Maul's lightsaber is so long in episode 1 is because he needed it to be that long so he could do the moves. So I'm thinking that the reasons why the sabers are so big is because it's easier to do the choreography with something a little bit bigger than something that's smaller.
No. As someone who has both done Iaido with a standard katana, they're relatively thin, and then holding this chungus of a thing, this is much more difficult to maneuver in your hand because it is so big.
It's
Right.
heavy.
But this is the lightsaber choreography is different than typical martial arts
Well,
swordsmanship.
it's more extravagant, so you would need something smaller and lighter.
Yeah. I don't think
know.
having it bigger is actually easier.
I think
Yeah.
lightsabers are supposed to get lighter as the more you connect to it. So, isn't that a
What?
thing?
Lighter? No.
That's only with the dark saber.
I think that's true of all lightsabers. Because when Kanan Jarrus is explaining it to Sabine, he's like, he's familiar with the idea of it getting lighter when you connect with your saber. Like he's teaching that
Well,
too.
then why can Luke just like pick up Anakin's saber?
Because that was written 40 some years ago before they planned everything out. Hey, George Lucas was making things up as he went, like also. So there's continuity issues
I don't want the they.
That's 100% true though. He makes stuff up as it goes along.
Well, no. I just don't want the saber thing to be real because it doesn't make any sense. It
No,
makes sense for a non-force user, but for a force user, like
I think the technology. Oh, for the heavy thing, but I think
Yeah.
the technology of these sabers aren't to the level when they
Yeah.
get thinner
yeah, that's what I've heard.
later on. But the biggest thing too, I think, is because those are literally going to be the size of those replica sabers at Galaxy's Edge,
It looked very similar.
and they're the
to
same.
mine.
They're huge.
Yeah.
So there's
So.
that point, so they can sell the merch without changing anything. And then there's also the point where we can just say, because it was 100 years prior, the saber technology and how the kyber crystal was contained advances in 100 years prior to what currently they're using. Because if you also look at all the Jedi are wearing gloves when they are fighting,
Yeah.
like
that's true.
like racing gloves, like leather gloves. And I think that has to do with potentially, like, Disney, you can steal from me, that's fine, but maybe the hilts get hot, so they have to have gloves on to mask the heat if they're using them for a long time.
Or they're just wearing gloves because they want to. I don't think there's any.
I want to make there's a reason because they look ugly, but
I didn't even notice one
Really?
glove on this whole entire thing. I never
Wait,
even
really?
noticed. I never
Really?
even noticed the complaints about the lightsaber thickness. I don't
oh,
look at
dude,
hilts.
that was
I have never once looked at a hilt during a lightsaber.
I
fight.
literally the first lightsaber, I was like, "That's a thick boy."
that was like the biggest.
because you guys are
complaint.
obsessed with merch. So like
Exactly.
That's true.
So that's your complaint is because of your merch obsession, not because it actually matters.
No, it does. It does matter.
I think
I don't
it's
really think
because
it
the
does. It's just-
technology isn't there yet, and that's just a way that they can mask it. But the actual reason is because they want to sell it at Disney.
Okay.
I've totally just this reminded me. There was a visual dictionary, Star Wars visual dictionary, where it had a cross section of Luke's lightsaber, and I had it as a kid, and I just found the picture, and there's actually 2 crystals. So there's a primary crystal, and then there's a focusing crystal. So you have 2 kyber crystals.
Interesting. And also, Jeremiah, maybe the reason why that crystal was so high up is because that saber does have 2 crystals in it.
Oh, true.
Like, maybe it's not placed in the center because the center is when the other lightsaber comes out.
Right, but both sabers, like Soul's saber has at the top too.
Isn't more in the center?
No, because it's cut off at the end, and you can. That's the whole point is so you can see the crystal right at the end. It's not like the whole thing was cut in half, and then that's what you see when what's your face is holding it.
It wasn't cut at all. She just threw it to the ground and cracked.
Okay, but my point is that the thing is at the very end of the saber, and both of them.
So you want to hear something
I'm trying to get
interesting?
that part.
Kylo Ren's is at the very end of his. I'm looking at the official visual dictionary, and it's his crystal is.
I guess
his crystal is like right in the middle of the guards and the top vent. It's like right before the like the main opening of the saber. So I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We got to keep moving because we are literally going to have a 4-hour podcast tonight. So we got to keep going.
Facts.
So he cuts the saber in half or whatever, disables it. The fight's done. And he's pointing his blade at Chimera. So that's happened. So during all this, May and Osha are fighting. But first they have to have a talk. And so they are both in the room and they're talking. And they kind of just have their whole discussion of what happened, and they're kind of arguing about what happened, and we finally find out why Osha failed at being a Jedi and left, because she could not get over her hate for May,
That
because
was a really
she
interesting
believed
line.
that May was the cause of everyone's death. So she had a hatred for May. Sol was trying to teach her to move past that. And then May brings, how could he teach you to get past that when he's the one that actually killed our mother?
That'll preach.
Which I don't really know if I agree with that statement, but whatever. May's just trying to turn her sister to the dark side. So, and then when that comes to light, all this stuff, Osha just starts breathing harder, and then they start fighting. And Andrew, you and I, we both watch Corridor Crew. We watch visual effects stuff, breakdowns.
Yep.
I'm hoping they do this because I absolutely hated the faces that they painted on to these martial art stunt doubles. Like, you can tell that they just glued these faces on and tracked them on of them fighting, and it was so lame. Like, if you
Wait,
go
really?
look, if you go look at it,
I legit did not notice.
I noticed it because there was no emotion. It was a flat face.
Yeah.
With no emotion while they're both fighting. Like, now when it's just on them, like one person, yeah, it's their face. But when you see them both in frame and you look at their faces, you can see that it's emotionless, tracked on faces from a side view that they just.
Yeah, I actually didn't notice.
And
that.
there was a couple times with.
I was literally
Soul,
too much
that they did
too
that.
focused on their forearms hurting.
Right. And there was one moment too when Soul was doing some crazy moves, and you could see that they put on a CG face on the actor. So that was kind of distracting for me. But I guess the fighting was fine. And so
It was
then,
fun. It was good.
Yeah, it was like upper mid level.
yep.
I think the point was to show that they were basically the same person.
Yes.
So
And when they're fighting, this is when the Jedi arrive, which Chimera and Soul see first, and Chimera's like, they're not here for me, which I guess because they don't know he's there. So I guess that's what his point was, that they don't know that Chimera is on the planet, so they're there for Soul, I guess.
yeah,
I don't know, or unless he was implying May or Osha, but I don't know, whatever. So then the girls see there's a hole in their roof, and they see the ship go by. They're both looking up, and then when so it was Osha that was when she looked down, May was gone.
Yep.
And so then it goes back to Soul and Chimera, and Soul is just pointing his saber at Chimera's throat, and then May comes in and force foos a little bit and disarms Soul, and Chimera's like, good, kill him, basically.
Yeah.
And she's throws the saber, and that's when the lens cracks. And then she's like, no, I want him.
Pretty fragile.
Yeah.
I guess for as many times as Anakin drops his saber and stuff,
Yeah.
like maybe the lenses are a little bit stronger 100 years later, but
Also, I didn't like how fast she was able to disarm him, but whatever.
I mean, he's probably tired.
True, but so would she. She just got both her arms broken. Like,
okay, whatever. We're moving on. So she's
Dang,
like,
dude.
I want him to confess his crimes. I want him to confess to the High Council, to the Senate, to the Republic. I want him to pay for his
Crimes.
crimes. And
I wanted to protect you both.
want to protect both. And
You guys
so
aren't twins.
she accused him, of, you murdered my mother, and he's about to say something different than what he's about to say, and then he finally says, yes, I'm going to tell the truth. Yes, I did. And so May was happy to hear that confession, but then while this is happening,
did you notice that May saw Osha come up and specifically asked that question so that she would hear his answer?
So she asked the question after she picked up the saber. That's when that question was posited.
So
Okay.
So Osha comes out, picks up the saber, and you see in May's eyes, she looks off to the side and sees her, and then focuses back on Soul. And it's after that she says, but you killed our mother. And she gets him to confess to it because he doesn't realize.
Yes. I'm literally watching it right now.
Yeah. So the whole point was to get him to confess to it in front of May, or in front of Osha, so that she would believe her.
Right. And so before Osha is there, he says that I still did what was right, and that, I was trying to protect you because, there's a virgins on here that you guys were not born. You were created. You're not sisters. You're not twins. You're one person, and we don't know how this is. So then this is when Osha comes and says, is this true? You murdered my mother? And he's like, yes. And he says, so we finally get the explanation of why there was this whole cover up, and why he killed Mother Anastasia in the moment, because the only way they could prove that there was a virgin on the planet, but also to justify his killing of Mother Anastasia, was he needed proof that the virgins was there, and it was only if they had Osha and May together. And so, like, he thought that he was going to be able to take both girls with, and so that's why he kills the mother, because she turns into this crazy witch thing.
He thought she was going to take her away.
Yep. She's dangerous. Like, we already know the witches is already outlawed, like implied in the first flashback episode. Like, it's implied that what they're doing is illegal. It's dangerous. It's part of the dark side. Like, they're creating life. This is dangerous. I'm going to kill the mother to bring an end to this. And then I just got to take the two girls back, and the Jedi can study them, and this is the virgins, and they can study.
That's why it was so impactful when she was like, I was going to let her go.
Right.
You idiot.
Right. And so it's like, he had to, the whole cover up was because he couldn't take both girls with. If they brought both girls with, then there was nothing to hide.
It. Yeah.
The whole justification for everything. And, like I said earlier in this episode, I still think Soul did everything right in the moment, because that's all that it's, I've been saying over and over again. This whole show is about everything is interpreted from a certain point of view. We're like, neither side is wrong, neither side is right, really, necessarily. Like, it's just everyone made the best decisions in the moment, but like those decisions conflicted with each other, and then when things hit the fan, it hit the fan and didn't play out the way anyone thought it was going to play out. So it's like, Soul still, I think, made the correct decision, but like everything, he, in hindsight, he knew he made a mistake, and he lived with this guilt for 16 years. But Osha did not see it that way. And while he's talking, she's like, stop talking. And then she made him stop talking.
He was about to say, because I love you.
Yep. And I wonder if he got that out, if that would have stopped her.
It might have.
And so
I
I
don't think
thought
so. I don't know.
Plagueis showed up and was force choking to bring an end to this chaos that was happening here. Because that's the whole reason why I thought they brought it in at the beginning of the episode, was because he was going to show up at the end, and this 12 Jedi that were coming were on their way, and he was going to kill them all, type of thing. But that didn't happen.
Nope.
And so she force chokes, and while this is happening, you see her bleed the crystal. Now,
That
I have been waiting
uh-huh.
for us to actually see a bleeding of a crystal in an animated show or in live action.
Uh-huh.
I, as much as I liked it, I didn't really buy it from Osha being the one. Like, I like how you explained it, Andrew, about all the different aspects going into like why she was able to do it.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like I understand her anger is justifiable, but like, I don't think it could be on that same level as like a Sith at this point. Like,
Well,
Interesting.
Virgins planet, Force baby,
I get what you're saying,
holding
but
the
it's like
lightsaber.
I was waiting for like a Sith moment where like, Palpatine has to bleed his first crystal or something like that. I can see him do it or something like that, but I don't know.
I think the biggest thing is that one, the planet's super powerful. Two, they're a virgin, and then three, I think the biggest thing is as she's choking him, she's so angry that she's choking and killing her former master / father figure.
Yeah.
Like that anger is the same anger that we see Anakin have to Obi-Wan, where they got to that point and Anakin was so passionate in that moment in episode 3, like where he even choked his pregnant wife. Like that
Yeah, it's
anger,
pretty bad.
that anger was coming out of her as she's slowly choking him.
But if Anakin was doing that, why didn't his saber turn red? Like, you're saying that Osha's anger in that moment is stronger than Anakin's?
Because it has to be someone that you kill.
Right, but didn't someone in the chat say that?
Well, we don't
Wikipedia
know.
says-
We don't know if that's the case or not. Okay.
but like,
Also, they don't write it yet, Jeremiah.
huh?
Bleeding the crystals weren't around then. I mean, to your point, yeah, his crystals should have bled out,
So like, I don't know.
It should have bled out.
but like that.
I just pictured it as more of like,
I think
a
we're gonna
deep-
see a ceremonial thing where like maybe we'll see a young Palpatine bleed his first saber. And like if this show keeps going on and we get to that point, or like a version of this where
I don't
like-
think we're going to see young Palpatine.
I think we will. I think at this point, especially with the technology these days and like how good they could get it, I think we will.
They'll just hire a different actor. They're not going to try and make a young
Yeah.
Ian McDermott.
Yeah.
They can cast whoever they want to do someone who's 30
Either
years old.
way, I think we will probably get to that point.
But I just think when I've
If this
thought
Plagueis
about-
show keeps going and it becomes that, then why wouldn't we get a Palpatine?
It's
and
probably not
Plagueis?
going to become a Plagueis show.
It needs to be.
It's probably not.
They want to bring the fans back. They need to do that. It's an easy way to do it too.
But what I'm trying to say is that I think whenever I thought about this bleeding thing, that it was like such a high level of darkness, of like seasoned evil, like Sith level hatred and anger. But I just didn't see that coming from
This scene.
Osha.
That's fair. And
Like-
a lot of people that don't like this episode feel the same way.
So it's like, now, like, if it was this whole season, it was like just her, like, continually getting more and more evil and darker, I could maybe see that, like, the progression of the story leading to that. But it was literally 5 minutes ago she released her hate.
But
and then
the thing is, yeah,
like, it was just 5 minutes. Like, it wasn't enough for me.
that's fair. I think something else to maybe think about is we don't really know what happened when she had that mask on. So like we don't know if maybe she potentially saw that whole
think-
scene come out, and maybe instead of us hearing it from like Soul's perspective to telling that story to May, what if we saw Osha? Maybe Osha was also seeing that whole scene come out, and maybe she just didn't want to believe it until Soul admitted it.
I don't know.
I'll just make excuses for the bad writing.
There you go, Jeremiah.
Now you're mocking us. Okay.
No. I'm just like, I don't know. I want this to be I want this to be good so bad that I'm like, I'm willing to forgive these types of things because I'm like, we got Bleeding a Saber in canon media, like visual media.
Hot
but
sis summer. Daddy
Anyway, moving on. So, so she kills Soul, and she falls to her knees or whatever, and she's like emotional or whatever. Chimera. Oh well, I should mention when when Soul is talking about like, the witches used the Force, the dark side, to create you. It goes to Chimera, and he kind of like
he's like,
like that monkey meme or whatever.
yeah.
Shifts his eyes like,
Yeah,
was that like because we were like, I knew about this, we were involved with this, or is it like, wait, they did? Let's learn
Yeah.
from this. Like, which
Yeah.
one do you think it is?
I think that perked it. I think he's heard about this stuff before, and it perked his interest because of his master.
So you're saying now the Sith are going to learn how to do it, not they've already learned it from the witches or taught the witches or anything like that.
No, I think.
So this is new information to Chimera.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
I think that Plagueis has been trying to, but hasn't figured it out yet. And the witches were able to do it because they were on this Force hotspot.
Okay.
But who knows? I mean, like,
I also think Chimera is not
Here's
as
the thing.
smart as he is portraying himself to be.
Here's the thing. Alchemy. I feel like magic with a K and alchemy. It would, if you're more trained in that stuff, it would be easier to create life because like Plagueis in the book approached it from like a super scientific point of view and a super like straightforward dark side point of view. It wasn't as arcane. And so I feel like if anyone's going to be able to create life, it's going to be the witches first.
Interesting.
I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know anything anymore. So
I mean,
do
I
the
like
idea
that.
the
I
Sith
like
learn
that.
it from the witches. Like, I have no problem with that.
Me either. I know a lot of other people do, but
yeah, I mean, like, I think I feel like Plagueis is going to pick this stuff up, and it's going to be the focus of his research in creating immortal life. Because in the book, Drew, you remember that Plagueis' whole thing was that the rule of two was going to stop with them. So Plagueis was going to learn how to become immortal, and the whole point was to put Palpatine in the Chancellor's place, create the Empire. And then the two of them would rule pretty much indefinitely. So he would become immortal, and then he would make Palpatine immortal, and he would rule from the shadows. He wouldn't be the figurehead, but he would rule from the shadows. And so, like, that was their original plan. And so I think he's going to find this. He's going to become obsessed with that. He might not figure it out, obviously, or maybe he does, and Palpatine, still kills him, obviously, but Palpatine does it before he gets all the secrets. Like they could tie this in to the Rise of Skywalker if they really wanted to, and all the cloning stuff.
Well, I think that's kind of what they're trying to do with that whole thing. Like, it happened. Like Palpatine figures it out, right? Because Rey's dad is Palpatine's nephew, but also just a
clone
of Palpatine. Yeah, so he figures it out.
He doesn't figure it out completely because it destroys the bodies that he's in. So he figures out
it's not long not long lasting. But to your point, I think maybe because the planet is a hotspot, and I'm curious if like maybe the Jedi blow up this planet or something or destroy it. Like, it'd be really interesting because what happens is because like something happened in this planet to begin with, and that's why no one lives there.
Well, the
Yeah, it was
hyperspace.
a great
Oh yeah,
disaster.
yeah, yeah.
And
So-
they don't. And as far as the Jedi know, like depending on what Vernestra says to Yoda, no one knows what happened on that planet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
That's like my issue is like my biggest issue of all this is if that planet is supposed to be a hotspot, which the director and writer literally said like is super powerful in the Force, then why are the Jedi feel like they're not super powerful? They should land there and like feel intense, feel powerful, be able to hold
Maybe-
a
maybe
bridge.
maybe it's not immediate.
It's that the Vergence itself is what's powerful, not everything on the planet.
Like they have to learn how to tap into it before.
This probably has to do with that hole that we've never got an explanation for.
Yeah.
That witch hole.
Oh, I forgot about that hole.
They even show it. I'm like,
Yeah.
they should have yeeted Basil down that hole and see
Oh
what happened.
heck
Like,
yeah, they should have.
feed
Or
the mountain,
maybe-
see what happens.
like-
he comes out, he's like God's. He's like what's the kaiju? He's a kaiju sniffing around. Anyway,
They
moving
should
on.
throw a soul down there and then his
Bazilla.
soul comes out.
Yep.
See what I did there?
Bazilla.
Moving on. So the Jedi arrive. They've landed.
No. You missed the whole icy saber.
Oh, I was talking about that, and then you guys changed the subject. So
Oh.
she's on the ground crying. Chimera comes over, touches her shoulder. She stands up and basically don't touch me type of thing, and points to
Yeah.
Saber. It's blue, and then the red climbs up to Saber. And
I thought that was really cool.
it was cool. And he's just happy to see this new apprentice of his bleed a crystal right in front of him.
Yeah.
And then does she go like hug May or whatever, like something like that, or is it coming up as the Jedi are coming? Maybe. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. So the Jedi arrive. They're exiting their ship. Right when Vernestra sets foot on the grass, she has a connection.
Yep.
She senses Chimera. Chimera senses her. He's like, "Oh crap!" Puts his
I'm
helmet
outie.
on. He's like, "I'm out. I gotta get my helmet on. This is not good." And she's like, "It's you." Like they're communing, right? Like she says it, like it's you. And so her speculation is that's been hinted at is that it's her former Padawan, or that
Yep.
she at least knows them at this point. And so she's like, "All right, I know where they're at." And she says you, and then she says you're alive. So she thinks he's been dead this whole time. So the suspicion
No,
is
I
like,
thought she just said it's you.
yeah, but then she says, I have my notes, alive ? Like she says you're alive, or asks that. Like, so it's like a confirmation that
Yeah, he does. She does say I'm watching right now. She said,
Oh.
"You ! !" You're alive." And she like blinks because she can't feel him anymore because he put his helmet on.
Oh.
So she left him for dead, and that's why he has that scar on his back.
She's got that dirt. She's trying to hide.
Mm-hmm. Little sneaky sneak.
Yep.
I don't know. We'll see.
She's doing all the wrong things for
I
all the
mean-
supposed right reasons.
Or she's doing all the right things for the wrong reasons.
Or she's the Grinch and she stole Christmas.
Or she's doing all the wrong things for the wrong reasons. Or she's doing all the right things for the right reasons. There's so many options. We don't know.
Maybe she's just Shrek.
Oh,
I've never seen Shrek, so I have no idea.
What?
Oh,
Whoa,
moving on. Moving
You've
on.
never seen Shrek?
No, I have no desire
Dude.
to waste my time with that.
Bro,
no,
no. It's
no.
not wasting your time.
I'm good.
Shrek is a
is-
work of art.
It's
I'm
one of
good.
the
First of all, it's like 25 years old, and I don't care.
dude.
Like-
It is one of the best
It's-
animation films of all time.
No.
Top 5 for sure,
Chat says you're kicked off the podcast.
dude.
Okay, that's fine.
Jeremiah,
Let's
you
see
haven't
Drew
seen
edit
Shrek?
this every week. Let's see him do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
He
not
doesn't
doing
got time
that.
for that.
But
Hey, Jeremiah, get out. I was told to tell you to get out by the chat.
Oh.
Get out. There you go. Get out.
That's a super thing.
But-
Okay.
But
Moving
Shrek,
on.
no,
I don't-
Dude,
No,
Shrek's a freaking
we're
classic,
so far
dude.
behind.
it's
We gotta
so
keep going.
memeable.
It's so good.
Osha and May, they decide they're gonna leave, so they hug each other. And
You gotta
May's
have
like,
layers, Jeremiah.
I
an
know how to
onion.
get out of here because we get to find out how she got out. Oh, because we should say earlier that when May comes in, she like climbed up the tower when Soul was running around. I forgot to mention that.
Mhm.
So we know that
Yep.
she has a hole down there that she crawled in and out
Yep.
of. So,
Yep.
It's
like that tower that him and Donkey had to get into with the
Mhm.
princess.
Oh yeah. So as they're escaping, we see the Jedi.
That's crazy.
They're like, oh, we can't get in, and Vernestra just uses the Force to open the door. Like she doesn't have to, hotwire it like everyone else. She's just able to open it. And so they all walk into this open area in the facility, and Vernestra is having her psychometry thing, and she's experiencing the memories of what happened here, and she finally puts it all together, and what happened, and she sends 2 Jedi to go look for the perimeter. Everyone else do a 5-click perimeter. It's kind of like they couldn't have gone far.
Followed the hound.
Yeah, she was
Follow the
like,
hound.
use the tracker.
Use
And
the
I forgot Basil was there, and I was like, dude, what is she? She's like have a freaking air tag on him or something. And then I realized that Basil was the tracker.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so she goes to the body of Soul,
Yep.
and Chimera, he's on the balcony thing, like looking down, like creeping,
Yep.
watching, and see her whisper something to the body. I'm like, okay. And then it goes to her, and she like senses something, and she does a quick look, up into the balcony, and Chimera's gone.
What does she whisper to him?
Later on, we'll get there.
Did you not get that part?
I don't remember. I thought she said, "You've done that yourself."
No. She actually whispers, you should go to wesleyandrews.cc to get some good coffee and tea.
We already did that ad, unless you have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
Yeah,
like,
you need to go to the bathroom?
that's what she said.
Do you need to go to the bathroom, Andrew?
No.
Okay. So Osha and May. You mentioned Omega in the thing a couple minutes ago, so that's why I had. Okay, Osha and May, they escape. The Jedi are tracking with Basil. He sniffs a backpack or something. Whatever.
Yep.
I don't know. The girls get to the tree. They start crying. They do their rhyme. Start doing the rhyme thing. Like, who told us that? Oh, I thought you
Plagueis.
made it up.
Darth
probably.
Basil.
Chimera shows up, pulls the saber. You're like, if I could find you, then the Jedi could find you. Okay.
He like reaches out to the saber. He's like, come here. And it flies into his hand.
Yep.
Did you get it?
Yep. Chimera, come
Yep.
here. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so, was it Osha was like wanting the Jedi to like tell the Jedi what happened, whatever, and Chimera's like, you still have faith in the Jedi, and she's like, oh, you're right, and
Which doesn't make
Osha's like-
sense. If she was gonna tell the Jedi, then why did they just run from the Jedi?
I don't know.
They're scared.
But that happened earlier too, and like May was like, "I'm gonna tell the Jedi. I'm gonna go and
She has
surrender
layers,
myself,"
Drew.
and then she just
has layers.
episode what was that 4? I'm gonna go
Yep.
tell the Jedi and surrender. The Jedi show up. Oh, I'm gonna run. I'm out of here. Like what the heck? That doesn't make any sense.
So
But whatever.
whatever they're talking, then Osha's like, you can train me, and we can leave May behind or something. I don't know. And May's like, is that what you want? Like, you get to have a decision here. This is all about what you want to do now. You're not going to be forced to do anything like what the Jedi did to you. And she's like, yeah, I want to go. And Chimera's like, all right, well, I can try and wipe May's memory so she can't give me any information. And like, okay. Like, I thought May was way too easily willing to like
That's what I said.
turn
earlier.
her sister over to a Sith guy. Like, I don't know. Like
That she al-
May was in too like happy of a position to like, yeah, I'm happy for my sister to be turned to the dark side. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
Osha
know.
was like,
I
yeah,
mean,
I
but
didn't
here's
really
the
buy
thing.
it.
Here's the thing. When you feel like the Jedi are evil and the Jedi are the bad guys, it's not that you're resigning your sister to evil. You're resigning your sister to breaking free of her past.
Right.
true.
But like she also wanted to leave the Sith also. Or the
Yeah.
Chimera also. Like she like was I'm done with this. I don't want this. Like this teaching
Well,
she
maybe
like
that's
really
because
says
she realized she wasn't truly like dark side material.
But she wanted her sister. That's all she really wanted.
I don't know.
So like to save her sister because she knows if her sister didn't train, then the Jedi were gonna find them both. She was willing to give up her sister. My thing is like, why was she willing to give up her whole mind?
because she didn't want
She didn't want to be a liability to her sister.
to yeah.
Yes.
She's like, I don't want to give any information to where the Jedi could find you.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I guess I just didn't buy this scene. I guess
yeah, I didn't really either.
they didn't really earn like their commitment to the dark side to me and the evil and stuff. Like to some degree, yes, but like I just didn't buy it. Maybe it was just a performance, like acting. Like
I think it's that, Jeremiah.
but whatever. So then they start like hugging and doing their rhyme thing one last time, and then
One for all, one for
yeah, whatever it was, and then while they're saying it, May nods to Chimera, and
Dude.
Chimera literally like one little
But you
like
forgot when Chimera gave the lightsaber back and his thumb went over May's thumb
oh
or
gosh,
Osha's thumb.
that was just
And then they looked in each other's eyes, even though he was wearing a mask.
yeah, whatever. So he just like literally it's like one little like motion with his hand erases her mind. Like he's like before he's like I can try to wipe it, and he literally just does it like nonchalantly, like he does it every
Every other
day.
weekend.
But like
That's also not all that out of the ordinary in Legends. So it didn't bother me as much.
I just think you're wiping someone's memory like literally a second. That's all it takes.
Hey, they do that in Men in Black.
It's easier to destroy something than rebuild it.
But like to specify what to delete, like it was literally everything back
Up.
to like the moment the fire happened. Like I don't know.
But then not though,
It's
because
a good point though, because like the chat makes a really good point. It's not complete.
I think it's harder to like only wipe a certain span of years than it is just to wipe the whole thing.
so my whole thing about this whole wiping thing that confuses me is that he did that all the way up into the fire part, but then she still didn't know that she had a sister. But up into that fire part, she knew she had a sister. So she should still know about her sister, no?
He removed her from the entire thing. Because remember, she was like, "There's a fire, and I'm supposed to go tell someone, but I don't know who she is."
Gotcha.
So like
okay.
he removed her from everything.
But then she still knows the entire story.
No.
She just knows her perspective of the story without Osha there.
The perspective that matters because Soul was the bad guy in that perspective.
Because she remembers, like, I saw a Jedi kill my mother,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but like she doesn't know the name anymore. But so that happened. So like as they're reciting the rhyme thing, she forgets the lines,
One for all.
and then it goes back to the Jedi. They finally find the tree, and they go to like May is left there, and Mog, he's like, drop any weapons you have. You're under arrest for a murder or whatever.
I
And May's
killed
like,
someone?
huh? What did I do wrong? So then it jumps to Coruscant, and we see May brought into the room where Venestra is, and they have a conversation. And quickly, Venestra realizes that her memory has been wiped. And it kind of like it's kind of like a monologue type of thing that Vernestra is doing, but it goes between May and the Senate team that she's talking to. And so she talks to the Senate like, yeah, there were 4 Jedi that were stationed on this one planet. They've discovered a coven of Force witches, and things happened, and there's high casualties, and these 4 Jedi conspired to hide what happened. And when that truth was about to get out, a rogue Jedi named Sol killed the other Jedi. And then they asked, well, what happened to the Sol guy? And she says he killed himself at the location of the events of what happened.
It's so freaking messed up.
And it flashes then to Vernestra when she bends down and whispers to the corpse. Like, she says, I'm so sorry, my friend, or something along those lines about being sorry.
Yeah, she knew the second she saw him that she was going to throw him under the bus. He was going to be the scapegoat.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because she felt her
That's sketchy.
former Padawan, and
She's trying
knows,
to. I think she cares more about covering that up than Sol's legacy.
Yep. Because she knows that he's turned bad. And that,
but would the
and that's-
Jedi really care about preserving the fame of a Jedi?
Yes. If your
Yeah,
Senate
of course.
inquiry, if your Senate is trying to inquiry into you and pull up all the dirt, yeah,
and
because that's a
especially,
liability, dude.
But
especially if
she
your
said-
old Padawan turned bad, and she knows that, and potentially she knows that maybe he's already a Sith, and she doesn't want
Mhm.
the other Jedi to find out that there is Sith around,
I don't know.
because maybe she believes she can get to him first before something else happens.
She's trying to take care of it herself. Yeah.
But
And
like,
that's why I think when she goes to Yoda at the end, he's part of the cover up, because he's going to realize it's better for the Jedi Order, the entire Jedi Order, if it's also covered up, and he's going to help her.
but
which is going to make more people mad.
so okay, but going back to like trying to preserve the image of the Jedi with her lies, it's like, it's not like, because you said that she's trying to like protect herself more than the legacy of Sol.
Yeah.
But but she was very specific in saying that he acted alone. Like, this is an isolated event, to imply that it's not a reflection of the Jedi as a whole. She said
Well, yeah,
a rogue Jedi.
Right.
So it's like the reflections of this one guy is not reflectant of the Jedi, which is true. Like, the whole event was still an isolated event.
Yeah. But like, the senator is looking for any reason he can to that external inquiry, and she's trying to prevent that from happening.
But why wouldn't she make a positive lie to make it look like things were good, rather than saying something bad happened?
Because they're good now because it's over. But she knows it's not over.
Well, I know from her perspective, but she literally made the Jedi look bad. Why wouldn't she tell a lie that,
Well, okay,
Sol
so
gave his
the-
life
the-
to try and
the
uncover
death-
this
the
thing that happened?
because like, okay, so like, they know about the other Jedi deaths.
Right.
Okay. They know about the Sol's death. And more people know about the fact that the assassin was not Sol in the beginning.
Who
how do you-
knows other
Huh?
than Vernestra?
The other Jedi in the room.
Like
All I'm
Caddy
trying to
Mundi?
say is she chose to use Sol as the fall guy to prevent this from getting out and getting any worse.
No, I get
Because
that.
if she's like, Sol gave his life and it was heroic and everything, what was he defending himself from? What was he defending? Who was killing the Jedi?
Well, they would say it was May, because that was the only lead that they had. Was May was the one that literally did kill Indara, and then Torben, and then they knew that she was going after Kelneka. So like,
All I'm
they
saying
could've
is it's
and they have
cleaner.
her in custody.
It's cleaner for her to blame Sol than anything else.
I don't know. Like, she could have thrown May under the bus because that's all the evidence that they had. and then she just could have kept her.
But that's the other good point. They want to use May, and the Senate would take May if they knew about her. And you could say that Soul, somewhat she died, but then who killed Soul?
May. Because they recovered May at the location of where Soul was killed.
But if they recovered May, they would take her.
And they wouldn't be able to use May
to find Quimir.
Right. But then I'm saying that she could lie about, like, she could somehow get access to May.
Well, but then if her sneakiness gets found out, it looks even worse for the Jedi. What I'm trying to say is, like, it's easier for her to make make an internal scapegoat to take the fall who can't defend themselves anymore, which is really dirty, than it would be for any other lie for her to tell. Because then by her throwing Soul under the bus, you don't have to prove anything because he's dead. And I think that prevents them from looking too closely at what happened. It's a cover-up.
Well, obviously it's cover-up, but
I don't understand your question, Jeremiah. You're just trying to say that she's not bad.
no, my question was that why wouldn't she just tell a positive lie? If she's trying to save the image of the Jedi, why say there was a rogue Jedi that killed a bunch of Jedi?
Because that rogue Jedi is no longer rogue because he's dead.
It solves two problems. It answers all the questions people might have. And then if you notice, she said it was a rogue agent. We do not condone the actions of this person.
Mm-hmm.
So simultaneously, she answered all the questions using someone who can't defend themselves.
There's
and
no
also
more
distance
threat.
And distance the Jedi as a whole from this lone wolf.
Meanwhile, her old Padawan, who she thought killed, she didn't kill them.
Probably behind all of this.
Is now,
which is a bigger risk to come out, because then they're going to investigate
and also figure out why she had, like, what made him go rogue. What did she do wrong? And now all these Jedi are potentially training these Padawans, and they're turning against them, and it makes the Jedi look even worse.
Yeah. Like, I feel like a positive lie would not have been as believable. It would have been more difficult to keep under wraps.
But I also think that her lie was only a half a lie, because, like I said earlier, like, it is Soul's fault that all these Jedi are dead. So it's like the blame is on him, even though he still thinks he did the right thing, and he did do the right thing. Like,
well, I mean, it's not his fault that they're dead.
But, like, his mistakenly, he killed Mother Anastasia, which led to everything else happening.
Yeah, but, like, it's not his fault.
But
he should have never brought.
Because it's his action is what caused the butterfly effect of everything else that happened.
This is Torben's fault.
That is true. But if he didn't,
which is why he killed himself.
If Soul didn't kill Anastasia, everything else would have been fine. Like, it's the death of Anastasia, which is what caused everything to go downhill.
If Soul would have not been so aggressively obsessed with a child,
he was obsessed with the virgins.
No, he was obsessed with.
Well, I think he actually cared about the safety of the two girls. Like,
I mean, he did care about the girls, but he was also
no problem with that at all. I don't understand why people have issues with him wanting to save these girls.
It's just how aggressive he became. I didn't like.
Well, yeah, but why wouldn't he be aggressive?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Jeremiah.
Like, you have to be aggressive. Like, your kid's walking down the street and there's a bear.
Okay,
you're gonna aggressively try and save your kid. You're not gonna, hey.
But that's my kid. He just met them, and he's like, May is going to be my Padawan.
But here's the thing:
his job to protect the
he
galaxy. He
knows of witches; they're dark side aligned, and he saw them. Like, he saw the mother like force push them and stuff.
True.
Like, based on everything he's seen, they're essentially being abused. It's like child abuse.
True.
And he straight up says they're not treating them like children,
which they weren't.
He also says, who else is going to protect these girls if not the Jedi? Like, he's like, we're here and we can save them.
It's not Darth Basil. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe if they had Basil on the original mission, it would have been all better.
Yeah, right. They probably
He
all
would
would
have
have
stopped all the
died.
bad. Yeah.
He would have
but
ratted on them too. He probably would have been like making noise as they're coming up to the castle. Sneaky rat. I think he's my least favorite character now.
Sneaky rat. Oh my god.
but I don't know. I feel like because Vernestra Rowe from the books and comics was like a fan favorite of those who read those, which are young adult
R.I.P..
and junior things.
Hey,
So like I feel like
Luke Skywalker was a fan favorite too until The Last Jedi. So
Ooh, facts.
well,
join the club.
I did not care about Luke Skywalker, so
Ooh, well, that's
Oh,
rough.
that's aggressive.
I've never been a fan of Luke Skywalker.
Why you
That's
didn't like
fine.
that
And
he saw both his
And I think that
parents on
his
an Uncle
story
Burn
in the
and he just
sequels
walked
is
away?
something that could actually happen in real life. So
Well,
I have
you've
no
also
problem.
never seen Shrek.
True.
I don't think I'm missing much. I've
You're
made it
missing
30
so much.
It's a cultural cornerstone.
You really think that I follow cultural trends?
Well, this is. I mean,
no, but this is like
of the three of us, I am the least bowing my knee to
True.
cultural trends.
Andrew.
like,
He does have a flip phone,
yeah,
that's true.
but Jeremiah, I really think we need to have a pizza night and watch.
no.
Shrek.
We had a pizza night planned, and you
Oh
ruined
boy!
that.
Oh boy!
So,
Oh boy!
Here
Oh
we
boy.
go.
No, this whole movie deal thing is over because you broke that deal. So we're moving on.
Well, that was my fault that you never watched
Yep.
Shrek. I told
Yep,
him
it
that
is your
for
fault.
the rest of my life.
Yep. I'm if Nestra can blame Soul, I can blame you. So,
But to be honest though, if Andrew flew from LA to come here and he wanted to watch
Jeez.
all
Shrek,
right, how about this? If Andrew flies into Minnesota, I'll make my homemade pizza and we can watch Shrek on my TV.
all right, you heard it here first, guys.
Guy who
Andrew,
runs a Star Wars podcast with the Stormtrooper in camera view. Do you really think I follow cultural trends? Some of them, yeah.
You kind of got me there. All right, moving on. So while Venestra is telling the story, and
Is covering up.
and she goes back to it's like all one flawless like transition from May to the Senate to back to May of like what her dialogue is.
Yeah.
And so when she gets back to May, she's like, Soul did everything. He made all these bad decisions because his love for Osha, your sister. And then she's like, sister? And Vanessa's like, crap, I said too much. And so basically she's like, I need your help to find someone. My old pupil who has turned to the dark
Pupil?
side. Pupil?
I thought you said poople.
No, I don't think so.
It just sounded like a meme.
Yep.
Poople.
And so I think May agrees or something like that. I don't know. So like I'm really excited for the Venestra stuff. Like,
well, now she's gonna be the main character because
I'm
this
so-
current main character is no longer with us. So.
I'm so hopeful that she's not a bad cop. I'm.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
I mean, if you can be
I was
hopeful
hopeful for
about
Luke
other
too,
things
buddy.
in the show, like
I think it's a cool story arc though to have someone who like can change or like she's trying to do it. It's not necessarily that she's a bad cop. She's just trying to do it.
She is literally
I don't know how to explain it.
she is the example of the reason why the Jedi are deteriorating.
This is the
Because of
Correct.
instead of transparency, they'd rather continue to act like things are all good and well. Because remember, the senator made this sick quote, and he was like, when you're all looking at heroes, it's difficult to see what's right in front of you.
right.
And it was like this whole like the Jedi are actually more flawed than people give them credit for. They've got too much power. Like all of these things that he was saying was completely true and was one of the reasons why by the time the freaking Clone Wars happened, like public sentiment had started turning away from the Jedi, and why it was so believable when Palpatine was like, the attack on my life has left me scarred, and everyone was like, yeah, that seems like something that they would do because they're power hungry. You know what I'm saying? It's like it wasn't out of left field. So all I'm saying is her trying to save the Jedi's face isn't inherently a bad thing, but the link she's going to do it and cover it up
It's gonna
is
start the thread of.
it's like she literally exemplifies what is wrong with the Jedi in some ways.
I see what you're saying, but the part of the fall of the Jedi was because they were so involved with the Senate, and she's separating herself from the Senate. Like, she's literally doing what she should be, is operating.
It's still the
apart
same
from
hubris,
Senate.
though.
I don't know. I think that the Jedi should have always been separate from the Senate, and she's trying to do that. She doesn't want to talk to senators. She's like annoyed by them. She's like, she doesn't want an external review. She wants to do investigations on her own apart from the Senate. Like, she's trying to operate the way the Jedi are supposed to operate. Now, is she still covering up maybe a crime or something illegal? Maybe. But are those crimes and what is illegal deemed illegal because of the Jedi or because of the Senate imposing their own rule on the galaxy?
You really want her to be good.
I do. Do you want her to be good?
She's already been annoying to me.
Annoying?
Yes, because Soul was like, let me earlier in the show, Soul was like, let me be the one that brings her in or something like that, and she's like, I think your attachment's getting in the way, and I was like, okay, poster child of the Jedi, like you've never had a, huh?
Which is still true. She's not wrong.
But it's still annoying. Jeez, that was one of the stupidest things about the Jedi too. If they had treated Anakin better, because she is the same attitude that screwed up Anakin, and the one that Qui-Gon did not enjoy.
Well,
So,
but you gotta
she is the
also think,
embodiment.
Huh?
Soul is also supposed to represent Qui-Gon.
Well, what does Qui-Gon have to do with Vernestra?
Because Vernestra embodies so much of what the Council was to Qui-Gon.
Yes. And I think that's on purpose.
Like Vernestra is like literally the embodiment of all the things that made the Jedi annoying.
I don't agree, because she didn't want the involvement of the Jedi Council. That was the whole point. Like, she doesn't want to be involved with the Council. She doesn't want them meddling.
But she still it has the same values and the same strictness and the rigidity to it all.
Which is why I think,
but if she did, she wouldn't be doing what she's doing though.
Now. But I also think that's why people do like her, though, because she is representing the Jedi. But then we're seeing
that's another good point too.
In the beginning of the fall of the Jedi,
she isn't against the Jedi because she's trying to get the Jedi to live up to their ideals. It's literally because she wants freedom to do what they want. She doesn't want the oversight,
which is a good thing. The oversight, the connection with the Senate is what is one of the major things that cause the Jedi to fall.
It is, but
also having them out there doing their own thing is not good either.
It's not safe.
I don't agree with that. I think that would have been the most safe thing that could have ever happened with the Jedi. The moment that they started
for the general public, though.
Yeah, because they would have been more like Qui-Gon.
Not all of them. There's no way all of them would have been like you would have had. You would have had people that would have been
it would have been a cultural shift within the Jedi Order if they did not connect themselves with the Senate. They would have been more independent. They would have been pure Jedi. They would have been the keepers of the peace. They wouldn't be representatives. They would be themselves. Like,
I still think they would have gone astray. It was way too much power to not have at least some sort of a check and balance system.
But it's because they were linked with the Senate that they had inflated power. Because they were agents of the Republic. So they got more power because of that. They were the police of the Republic.
They were the police of the Republic before, too.
But they weren't agents of they weren't told what to do by the Senate.
Well, they were told what to do by the Council, who was already pretty deeply in bed with the Senate.
Well, and my point is they should have never been involved in the Senate in the first place.
Look, I don't know.
This isn't modern day police stuff. It's completely different. Like, we're taking it like within the Star Wars universe. They would have been better if they were not connected to the Senate in any way, shape, or form. It's when it's during the High Republic, the books that we've been reading, that they marry themselves to the Senate, and that's what causes them to start to fall. Like that, from that second High Republic book, there's that moment when Stellan is like, this is a moment that we can look back on and like be proud of, that the Jedi and the Senate are and Republic are becoming so involved with each other. And I'm like, that's the moment when they're
That's
officially
foreshadowing to the moment of the actual fall.
they're
of the
literally
Jedi.
going down a path that I don't think they should have followed. Like, I don't know. I think Vanessa's trying to be what the Jedi are supposed to be, even though she seems to be covering up a crime. She's trying to be independent from the Senate, which is the best thing they could have done.
Okay.
I think you're both right in sense like that's
From a
what.
certain point of view.
Yeah.
It's like a whole show.
Because I think you're right, and that's what her goal is. But I also think that she is trying to cover herself and make herself look good because she messed up somewhere, and we're gonna find out. And yes, a lot of people are gonna be mad because
Yep.
she's not that goody good that we thought she was in, and that we've known of her. But if we know anything about this current writing of this, they're doing what they want to do. And so if other people are making these characters, at a certain point we have to see the Jedi become flawed. And
Yeah, that was one thing that I kept seeing people be mad about. They're like, "Oh, so the Jedi aren't the good guys anymore?" And I was like, "Brother,
we
they
have
weren't
to
always the straight good guys anyways." But
but
you know,
we have to see the Jedi start making mistakes and causing issues. And like people are mad about that, but like at a certain point, like to Jeremiah's point too, is like they get corrupted and they're part of this republic that at one point ends up betraying them and turning on them. And that's the whole thing about this is like people are people and people make mistakes, but they certain Jedi feel so powerful and so high of themselves that they don't think they're making a mistake, even though they are, and they're not willing to let those mistakes. Like instead of her saying, "This is actually what happened," Soul made a mistake and he did mess up, but also I believe that my Padawan is who I thought I killed is now killing people or in somewhat involved. Like she doesn't really know what he's doing, but she knows that he's there. So there's somewhat an issue. And instead of her saying that, she lies about it. And I think to cover herself up, to make herself look better.
or at least not make herself look bad.
Yeah. The same thing.
Well, like I feel like in some ways it's not her trying to like boost herself up. It's just her trying to maintain her reputation.
Yeah. And
you know, because like how bad would it look if word got out that like she had a Padawan that fell to the dark side, and like even if it wasn't her fault, it will be viewed as her fault because she was the teacher, and then she tried to kill him, which is not very Jedi like. You know what I'm saying? Like that makes her look really bad. And she's like the PR, like the freaking voice of the council.
yeah.
Like people like
She's
that
like the
aren't supposed to
Jedi
make mistakes like that.
representative. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So maintain the Jedi face. Like she's literally just trying to make sure that they look good. It's easier to blame Soul for all these crimes and cover that up, and then she can try to patch stuff in the background. And I think by her doing that, I think we're gonna see her make mistakes and not able to patch things up.
I think we're gonna see her die.
Oh,
next
definitely.
season.
I don't know about next season because I think isn't there rumors that they have 3 seasons? Are there going to be 3 seasons?
I have no idea.
I have no clue.
But either way, I think we are going to see her fall and die. But I also think, to my point, I think Dark Plagueis is going to kill one of those people, one of those Siths, and I think it's going to be good.
Right. So moving on.
We're not done with this episode.
No, there's still 2 more scenes left.
Oh, geez. Well, they hold hands.
So we'll skip to the final scene because it's relevant to what we're talking about now, and this is where they should have put the scene anyway. But Vernestra goes to talk to Yoda. So assumingly she's gonna confess everything, I think, to Yoda. I think that they should have had a younger looking Yoda from the back of the head than they gave us. Like it looks like original trilogy Yoda. I think
From
it's
a
probably
certain
the
point of
same.
view, maybe he just
probably
has bad hair, bad
I think
head.
it's probably used the same puppet that they used in episode 8, which was the same puppet they used in the original. And they're just filming it from the behind. But like they should have had a little bit more hair or a little like browner.
I mean, it's
like,
only 100
brown.
years.
I know, but they could have made something like where he had a couple strands of brown
Maybe.
hair or give him some sideburns or something. Like I don't know.
Isn't that funny though? It's like we keep saying it's 100 years. That's a long time. But in Yoda's perspective,
Yeah,
it's
it's not
only
a lo-
100 years. It's
yeah, it's
like
only 100
nothing for
years.
him.
But it'd be like 75 in human. He'd be like 750.
Yeah.
So you could still have some brown hairs in there. If it was times 10.
I just think this whole scene was so stupid.
Yep, it was stupid. They didn't have to. It would have been
We
better
didn't-
if it was like the council. Like she walks into the council chamber and everyone's there. We
No,
can see
because I think
Q-Tip
Yoda's going to
boy.
be in on the cover up,
Well,
and
yeah.
the rest of the council isn't going to know.
Well, no, because they can't know because the Sith haven't been around
what
for
I'm
a
saying.
millennium.
So you think that when we get to episode 1, Yoda knows that the Sith are alive and well because of this?
I think
Potentially.
I don't know if he's going to find out the Sith are alive and well, but I think he's going to be aware of a dark Jedi. At least he's going to know at least of Quimir, and he's going to keep it a secret for her.
Okay.
And I think this goes to Yoda in general. Like the dark side is what does he say? Clouded. Like he can't see the darkness because it messes him up. And he's said that all episode 1, 2, and 3 that the dark side of the Force is crowded his mind and he can't see anything. So it would make sense why he potentially wouldn't be able to feel it up until then.
Maybe. And then
I liked it. I like that scene.
I don't know why we got Yoda if we didn't actually get him. That's my complaint. Like it's just like you guys were teasing that we're gonna get Yoda. Like people were talking about it, and then we didn't even get him. We got his head, and like for 4 seconds or like maybe 3 seconds, like they should have just gave us Yoda then. Like it's just stupid, and it's like you're building up this character. Like yeah, we're gonna see him on screen. We've only seen him on screen. It's not like we're seeing
Well, we
Thrawn
haven't
in
seen him
live
in the High
action.
Republic. We haven't seen him in the High Republic though.
I'm just saying for me, it didn't make me go, oh my gosh, it's Yoda. I was just like, oh, cool.
I don't think
Like,
there's anything they could have done that would make you excited for him.
for Yoda.
Yeah. Like it could have been a whole 5-minute scene of her telling everything.
think
and
that
him
would have
fighting back,
helped.
and you wouldn't have cared.
I think it
Like-
would have helped if we would have got her actually saying what, like, because we're predicting and we're trying to figure out what she was going to say to him. I
Yeah,
think
but
if we would have,
that's beginning of season 2 stuff. It had to end here.
honestly, knowing Star Wars, that's probably going to be the end of season 2 stuff. Or the middle.
They're gonna drag it out. like
They're
this
going to
season.
drag that conversation out for at least 2 episodes, if not 4.
All right. So final thing, they get back on the Sith planet, whatever it is, and they look into the sunset, holding hands and slash the lightsaber. That's it.
Yep.
So I guess
And
they're
that's when we should
romantically.
have got Plagueis.
Yep. So I guess they're like romantically involved now, which is weird.
Either
Like-
that or they just have some sort of weird like
No, they're in love.
semi-paternal attachment thing going on, but I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. It's kind of like that episode of like the Simpsons holiday special from a long time ago, where it's like the aliens come down, like they become like the presidential like candidates for election, but like they're friends, like alien friends, like they are like pretending to like be both sides, but like they're walking down the street in their human body, like holding hands, like not knowing that they're not supposed to do that. It's just like maybe it's
I will
just
say
like
that-
what Sith do. They hold hands, like when they're.
I will say that
looking to the future.
if there is romance here, it makes more sense than Kylo Ren and Rey.
Well, there was never a romance between Kylo Ren and Rey.
Yeah, well, they definitely should have framed that a little bit more obviously.
I don't think.
I never saw it as romantic.
We're not talking about this right now.
So that's it.
Kiss
So
of death.
because of time, we're gonna skip what we were originally gonna plan for the ending because we got probably another hour left. So
Oh, jeez.
let's keep moving on. Any other final thoughts?
About the show.
Yes.
To your point, Jeremiah, I don't think we can skip that without talking about the whole thing. Like our overall thoughts of the entire show.
No, just anything else from this episode, season, anything quick. We don't have another half hour to discuss what we were going to discuss.
I mean, I'm happy to share my thoughts on the show.
Okay, go.
Or we could do another episode for our overall thoughts.
I don't know. We're gonna move on then. All right.
Okay.
Voicemail time.
It's voicemail time.
All right, cool. Well, we have a bunch of voicemails tonight. Apparently, when Andrew's here, they just send them in because we had
They didn't know Andrew was going to be here.
we had 8, and then last week we had 1 or 2 when Drew was back, and then we're back up to like 8
They
again.
can
So,
sense it in the force.
No, it's just because of the
Yep.
finale. It has nothing to do with me.
But
So-
this has. We'll find out.
first 2 are from a first-time sender,
Ooh.
nameless, but in the email it was provided the initial E. So insert any male E name and
Eric.
Like Eric. Okay. So first up, let's take a listen.
Hey, Empire Radio, long-time listener, first-time caller. 2 questions. I've heard rumors about Vanestra being the potential or a potential Sith Lord. What do you guys think about that? She seems to be acting as if she's trying to hide things or downplay things. And the fact that she's old and so forth. A second question is, I remember hearing that we would see a brand new lightsaber apart from the light whip. This is from the producers or the writer or creator. Yeah, have we seen anything new besides the light whip? And that was very not cool. I mean, it's just like, okay, snap, insect goes away. But are we going to see something or are we not?
All right. Well, thank you for that first email or voicemail. For your question about Ventress, we did talk about that a lot earlier on, like before episode 5. That was like a big theory going around that she was the person, the cloaked figure. But when you,
Vanestra.
yes, and
You said
so
Ventress.
did I say Ventress?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
Vernestra,
like,
whatever.
"Oh."
So, but going back to like that final scene when he arrives, we see the skin color of the arms, and it's light skinned, not green. So that pretty quickly got kiboshed. But like I was on board with that, like with the information that we had up to that point, that it could have been her, which would have been
But
cool. But
it's
What
still
if-
potential.
What if who she was calling, she was trying to get in touch with Hugo Damask?
Or Plagueis.
It's the same person, Drew.
My bad.
Remember from the book?
Yeah. Mhm.
Maybe he's orchestrating something and she's trying to get in contact with him. Maybe she's not a Sith Lord, but I'm telling you, there might be something shady going on.
I don't think she's dark side friendly at all.
I mean, maybe not. I don't know. I'm just having fun with it now.
I don't think she is a Sith Lord, but I do think she sways, and I think we got to go back to the color of her lightsaber. It's
leave
important.
purple out of
But
of
it's
this.
important.
I don't think there's any canon thing about
It is.
colors having meaning other than the red being blood.
But if they're
crystals.
bleeding, and if she if her crystal is switching potentially or leans
No.
more
It's
towards red,
purple.
It's just purple.
I think it does have something to do with it. No.
No. It's never. That's not a thing.
Oh.
because Mace Windu was like
I just want a purple one.
100% light side. Like even though he had vape had, no, he was highly dedicated to the Jedi.
Yeah,
Yes, but he also was gonna just kill Palpatine without taking him in.
that doesn't make
but that doesn't mean he's
dark side.
Yeah,
not-
like
True, but that's
There's
not
nothing
the
in canon
Jedi
about
way.
colors of saber.
I
That's like
swear that
saying-
was a thing.
There was in the EU, I think, right?
in like Knights of the Old Republic, the colors meant that you were different like types of Jedi,
Yeah.
but there's never been anything about purple.
Okay. Well.
And
never mind then.
technically, your kyber crystal you get, it connects with you and it becomes a specific color. So if you turn it on and it's purple, it's not switching, it just became purple.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't think that maybe it's because she leans in the middle?
No. Because it's like saying,
But
or
then
someone with a
don't-
green lightsaber, someone between blue and yellow lightsabers
But don't
that's
we?
going back and forth.
Okay, but don't we always say that the reason why Ahsoka's lightsabers are white is because she's pure?
No, because
No,
she
she-
purified the crystals.
She purified blood crystals.
Yeah,
She removed
that's
the
why they're
blood.
white. Yeah.
All right. Well, and then to a second question about the new lightsaber. So I believe it wasn't a new lightsaber. I believe other than the light whip, it was a new Jedi weapon, which I think is the stun gun.
Yeah. But I mean, also,
But
Khmer's
also,
is-
Khmer's is different.
Yeah.
His,
I was gonna say,
his saber.
yeah, because he has a
I mean,
little one.
it's like a straight lightsaber, but also like it
He has
breaks
two in
apart.
one. That's
yeah, That's
new.
new.
But it was a Jedi weapon that was stated.
Oh well, yeah, that was the
Oh,
stun
but
gun.
then yeah.
So I
this
think
is
it's just
stun gun.
the gun. Which
But if you're thinking of
was
just
very-
lightsabers, I think his lightsaber could have counted too.
And we've seen other lightsabers split into two before. So like,
Yeah.
it's nothing new necessarily. So I think
No.
it's just the gun was what was being discussed, which
Yeah.
was a major letdown. I was like, what is this cool new Jedi weapon?
Yeah.
And it's just,
A
bu-
giant bazooka stun gun because they
Yeah.
didn't put stuns in other guns yet.
yep. All right. Well, then he has a follow-up voicemail. So let's take a listen.
Hey, Empire Radio. I just made a recording asking about Vanestra and the new potential lightsaber. And I forgot to say, hey, thanks for what you guys do. You guys have been a breath of fresh air. I appreciate it when you guys don't agree to everything. Because I have other podcasts I listen to and they agree about everything. And it's like, okay, cool. But I'm glad that you guys don't agree, that you guys challenge each other. So thank you for that. Keep up the good work.
All right. Well, thank you for your kind words. We're happy to be here and offer different perspectives and disagree and argue, and we're still friends at the end of the day. So that's what our
Well,
community is about.
Well,
We'll see. It's
But
pretty
because
determinant on if
Shrek
you watch
might have
Shrek.
been Shrek might have been-
Shrek. I don't know, Jeremiah. That's I have a different point of view of you now.
Yep. All right. Well, we have two from someone who's been in the chat for a lot of the night. An OG,
Daddy Pops.
Daddy Pelps. We got two from him, and I think he was recording while he was driving in his redneck truck. So like it's a little
Loud.
muffled, but we can get it done.
Yep.
Hey guys, Daddy Palps here. I was listening to your episode with Andrew about recasting Star Wars, and it got me thinking for a little while about who you would replace. Now I thought, okay, if we had to replace everyone in episode 3, who would we do? And I think I've got it pretty good. I think, yes, I think Leonardo DiCaprio actually would have killed it as Anakin Skywalker. He's just moody enough to be able to pull off Anakin. I think Obi-Wan would actually be great if he had been played by Jude Law.
Ooh. I was thinking that.
I have 2 for Palpatine. One is my obvious choice, but the second one is a little bit more crazy. I'll have to let you guys know. I'll call back. Bye.
This cliffhanger's worse than the end of the season.
Cliffhangers, yep. So he agreed about
Dude.
Leonardo DiCaprio, who also auditioned for Anakin. And then
I didn't know that. Is that real?
Yeah.
Dang, that would have been
And I think-
crazy.
I think he would have looked a lot more like Jake Lloyd than Hayden Christensen did. And he said Jude Law. I don't know enough about Jude Law to know.
Oh, he's great. Jude Law is great.
But he's already starring in the next show that's probably going to come out. So
Yeah.
we'll see how he does with that. And then let's take a listen to Teddy Pope's
I need to
second
hear
one.
this.
Do you have any guesses what his... He has an obvious choice and then a crazy choice for Palpatine.
I have no clue.
What's the obvious choice?
Oh, he's going to say it, but his crazy one is kind of crazy. So let's take a listen to his next one.
Hey, voicemail number 2. So, my fan cast for Padme would have actually been either Anne Hathaway,
Oh.
which I don't know if I'm in love with that one, or Blake Lively. I think both of them, either one of them would have been very, very good in that role.
I would have
Anne
picked
Hathaway.
Megan Fox, but that's just me.
No.
But I think the best casting I came up with was Sir Anthony Hopkins as Palpatine. Him as Hannibal Lecter, I think, really showed his ability to be really, really evil. But he also has that softer, kinder side where he can play Chancellor charmingly well. My wild cast was actually if they had completely remade kind of his character, was Morgan Freeman as
Oh,
Palpatine,
gosh.
which I think would be wild. All right, see ya.
Okay, first and foremost, I need you to know that I didn't say it because I thought it was crazy. But when you were like, "Who do you think his pick is?" I literally thought Anthony Hopkins.
That's
like
funny.
I'm not joking. I promise you, I am 100% being real. And then when he said that, I was like, "Oh my god, we are on the same wavelength. This is so weird."
I don't know. I don't know if I would have liked that casting, but
I would have. And Anne Hathaway, I think she would have done a great job. She looks more like Leia.
No,
Yeah.
doesn't look anything like Leia at all.
More than Natalie Portman.
No, Anne Hathaway has a tiny head. Like that's
Wow.
Hey, don't head
And-
shame
and-
people.
Freaking rude.
and
Okay.
Carrie
that's fine.
Fisher has a bigger head. So I
Head expert over here, I guess.
Yeah, it's all about the heads and ages with Jeremiah.
But
and
yeah,
he said Blake
I liked.
Lively, which would have been
No.
weird. Drew said Megan Fox. No, thank
I was
you.
joking.
No, I don't think you were.
I
but-
was, dude. She's horrible.
But then he said Morgan Freeman for his wild casting for.
Oh, Kevin Bacon. Yeah, that would have been good for Palpatine, younger Palpatine.
No. No. All right. Well, thank you, Daddy Pelps. For those, we love hearing from you.
Yeah.
Just next time, not in your car, bro.
Next up, a little quick one from our good and faithful moderator, Will, who isn't here tonight, but it's a really juicy one. So let's take a listen.
Hey Empire Radio, Will here. I'm at Disney right now, and you'll never guess who I found.
Hey everybody, it's Red Buff from the Discord.
That's it. They had a crossover event. They
Bro,
met up
what?
at Disney.
On
They-
purpose or an
They
accident?
they individually planned to go to Disney on the same time,
That's
in the
cool.
overlapping time. And so they met up while they were there, and they sent a picture in the Discord of them.
That's wild.
That's cool.
What a
This is-
small
It's
world.
crazy because
Hey
this is
Drew,
the-
I'm gonna tell you next time I'm going to Disney here, and you should just like show up. I would say you and Jeremiah, but I'd love for you both to be there. But I know Jeremiah wouldn't probably wouldn't.
Well, I'm going to
Our
Disney in
Salvation
October, so if any-
2026 is
You
in
going here? Or you
California.
going Florida?
Florida. So if you're
Bro.
His wife's family always goes to Florida. It's like
Yeah,
the only
that's
place they
true.
go
we're
to.
going
But,
to
like-
Taylor Swift's concert, okay?
Oh my god, no.
You're not a fan? You're not a Swiftie?
He is definitely
No.
not.
Jeez.
I thought
We're not gonna.
I thought you'd have a lot of respect for that woman, but I guess not. Okay.
I have a lot of respect for the people that ride around her. I'm not
Right.
trying to start anything tonight, though.
But yes, but it's kind of crazy because this is the second time Will has had a crossover event with friends he's made in the Discord.
Yeah,
Someone
that's kinda
flew all the
crazy.
way from Arizona to North Carolina just to hang out with Will. And now
Mhm.
this happened too. So
Dang.
apparently Will is like the coolest guy in the Discord. Everyone just wants to hang out with him. So
Well, yeah,
thank you, Will, for being the glue that holds our community together.
facts. Well, Andrew, didn't you have a crossover with Will too?
No, we never got to.
Oh,
They
dang.
literally
And they lived in the same state.
Andrew could look out his window and see his college.
I could.
And they always are talking on Instagram or whatever, but
That's
they never
funny.
wanted to meet up in real life. So that's unfortunate. But we still got 3 more voicemails, so let's move on. So next 2 are from our boy Chadrick, who's been recently sending in some. So let's take a listen to this first one.
Hey guys, Chadrick. And these voicemails been a little crazy because I haven't been getting to send them in on time like I wanted. Yeah, speaking of my brother, I couldn't give my opinion on episode 7 on time because he wanted to freaking wait a day later to watch it.
What a scrub.
Because usually when I get off in the mornings, he's usually up and I watch it with him, but he was passed out. And his name's Sheldon, by the way. Fun fact about me and my siblings. We all start with an SH. There's my sister Shayna, then my older brother Sheldon, and then me, Shadrick. I am the youngest. But
Dang.
I am
Sheldon.
definitely going to send in a few more voicemails because I do want to give my thoughts and opinions on episode 7 still. And yes, it's only Monday night, so I still have not seen the finale, and I am a little nervous. I get that there's going to be multiple seasons of the show, but I don't want to get 4 seasons of this just to get to a Sith reveal. I wanted a Sith show just in this one season, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
You will.
Oh, you will see.
You
Well,
will
thank you.
definitely see what happens.
Thank you, Chadrick. So for Andrew, I think you weren't here last week, so I think his voicemail was like talking about his brother. I'm like, well, what is your brother's name? Is it Chadrick? Like we were just kind of making a joke. So that's why he gave his name to his siblings.
I got you.
And we also told him to send in voicemail, but
Yeah. So let's take a listen to number 2 from Chadrick.
Okay, so episode 7. Not gonna lie, I think I would have hated it if there wasn't a lightsaber fight. Because other than that, it did not feel like a episode before a season finale. I don't know. They're just taking their time with these plot reveals or whatever the heck they're doing. But like I said, they need to make these suckers an hour long at least. They're killing me. With these, I feel like some Clone War episodes are even longer. But overall, though, it wasn't as bad as episode 6 because, God, I felt like nothing at all happened in that episode. But
that's what I said.
And my biggest complaint, though, in episode 7 is, yeah, we did kind of rewatch episode 3, it felt like, but it was cool seeing the different perspectives. But we got a little too much of Saul's perspectives that we didn't really need to see again. Kind of like how he saw the girls training with their mom. Like, I get, like, how it looked bad in his eyes, but I don't know. I felt like we could have got something better. But hyped to watch this finale. Hopefully, Sheldon will be awake for it. So, I'll see you guys then.
All right. Thank you. And yes,
Yeah.
Sheldon, get your life together. Like,
Yeah, young Sheldon.
be ready to go for these shows when they're dropping. Come on.
Yeah, Jeremiah said he hasn't watched Shrek, but he said,
"Get your life together."
"Get your life together."
Yeah, I've made it 34 years without watching Shrek. So
And you've been missing out for 34 years of your life.
I don't know. I'm
I
pretty
can't
content.
believe you haven't seen Shrek, bro.
So keeping things back on track here, I heard somewhere someone said that this could have been better as a movie.
I
kind of agree with that.
I think it could have been a lot better as a movie because it would have honed everything down. Things wouldn't have been dragged out.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it was a trilogy, like on focusing on like
The High Republic,
explaining
and the Sith,
just the Sith specifically of like Plagueis to Episode 1, like fill that gap in with a trilogy, I would have been totally fine with that.
100%.
A bit more focused.
I don't think Disney was ready to drop money on a movie yet.
But this
$180 million.
$180 million for this show.
Like,
was more.
Dude, movies are way more expensive than that.
You're right, but it would have been like $250 million.
It would have been more than that.
And they would have generated way more money.
Would it have though?
Yeah. People are not shoving money into Disney Plus to
I don't know if they would have seen it though. That's the thing. At the time where when it was announced, I don't know if they were confident enough that people would have actually gone and seen it.
I feel like it would. No. People would have saw.
They're done with shows. They want movies back. People keep saying they want movies. They want movies. And
we do, and not a Ray movie.
Thing
15 years later,
even if the movie sucked, they would have made $1 billion, and there's no way would make near as much just with this. People are not flooding their money into the Disney Plus right now to watch this one show. Like, if anything, it's caused it worse for Disney, but I don't know. Movies would have been way better for this topic, I think.
And like we said earlier, like this last episode was the best one, at least in my opinion, and it felt really connected and full and heavy. And we got the fight scene, we got storyline, we got like hints of what is to come. And if they did that and then added another hour to that was that good and that fast pace and that quality, I think it would have been a better movie than 8 episodes and then 1 episode that literally told us nothing.
All right.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thank you, Shadrach, for those. We'd love to hear from you again. But last up, our boy, our famous pirate who, since Andrew has been on, he has officially coup d'etat. So he is now the Pirate King. So let's see where he is this week.
Hey, Empire Radio, it's Garrett. We received a transmission from the Pirate Guild saying that a bounty has been set out on an old helmet belonging to the late Darth Vader. I wonder if they mean Lord Vader, like the helmet we found. Well, I'm going to bring it in anyway, because the first crew to bring this in will receive a delivery job from the new owner of said helmet that pays 20 million credits. There's got to be a catch of some kind with that amount of credits. Anyway, I was wondering what Andrew's thoughts were on my question from last week about what variables make using the Force more difficult. And to not just repeat my question from last week, do you guys think the big hole on Brendock was a bit of a disappointment? I kind of thought it would have been mentioned more by the characters if it's meant to be the virgins, or have some sort of further meaning than I felt was portrayed.
How did people know what Andrew was on this episode?
Well, he specifically is in Discord and asked if he was going to be on, and then he sent in his voicemail.
Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't even know.
But yeah, so the question he had last week was like about, lifting the bridges and rather than the girls. Like, is it easier to pick up an inanimate object with the Force or a living being? Is a bigger object easier to grab than a smaller object? Like, what do you think when it comes to the Force? Is a Force sensitive being easier to connect with than something that doesn't have the Force in it?
I would say I would say it would be far easier to move an inanimate object than like a sentient object, because, well, if you cared about what the person or thing you were moving, like I like, for example, if I had the Force, I would be moving chairs, doors, and stuff all the time. But like moving Cheeto would scare the living daylights out of me because I wouldn't want to hurt him.
Be more hesitant.
Yeah. Because like you would have to be much more trained to do that, in my opinion, and much more confident to do that, in my opinion. Whereas like grabbing, you moving or grabbing or pulling like an inanimate object, you don't have to care. You don't have to worry about that. You can use your abilities. And I think that's another reason why it's all that much more impressive when they do it in fights. Now, pushing is a little different because it's not as sophisticated, but also like I feel like moving smaller objects. So moving bigger objects takes more strength but less precision, whereas moving smaller objects would be much easier to lift and wouldn't require as much strength, but it takes a lot more precision, much more focus.
Well, and that's what Jeremiah was saying is because maybe they're so small, it was hard for him to connect and grab them. When they're staying on the bridge, is easier because the bridge is huge and massive, and it was easier for him to grab it, but not easier for him to hold it because it was too heavy.
Yeah.
And so he's in the Discord. And I think in the Discord he asked specifically also about like in episode 2, Attack of the Clones, when that thing is about to fall on Obi-Wan and Anakin, and Yoda chooses to catch that rather than to move the bodies. So, like,
yeah, I feel like in a split-second decision, like it's easier to do the inanimate thing because you don't have to think as much about it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like moving the bodies, I don't know. Like Yoda could have done it, but still, like you could potentially mess them up.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you drag them the wrong way and their heads just like bopping against the ground while they're doing. I mean, like you know
Or
what I'm
if
saying?
you grab them too hard, they can pop.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing too, because like force choking is the same mechanic as grabbing something and pulling it with a force, except you're just grabbing it really hard. You're choking versus like picking something up. So I feel like you have to have a lot of control to be able to like what do you grab telekinetically? Like a foot? If you hold too hard, you break the ankle. You pull it too hard, you could like mess up their leg. So it's like I don't know. I don't want to be force pulled somewhere.
But I think to your point, that's why it is impressive when they catch someone and they're floating on the ground.
Yeah.
Like there's times where we see the Jedi catch someone as they're about to fall.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. And the second question is about the hole in the ground in the Acolyte.
Pretty.
It was kind of why did they put that there if it wasn't going to mean anything? Unless they go back in the next season and there's something down there. But like
maybe
they may put an emphasis on showing that hole multiple times and it amounted to nothing.
And
so
more than one season.
It's a whole nest of Basils down there.
Oh my!
They just emerged.
Set it on fire.
All right. Well, thank you to everyone who sent in the voicemails. Love hearing from you.
That was all of them?
And if you've made it this far, listening to this 3.5 hour podcast, thank you for staying. But if you want to get connected with us more, go in the description below, the links.co/Empire Radio. Links below 2 eyes. It's the landing page for everything Empire Radio. So you can send in a voicemail. We'd love to hear from you. Join the Discord. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Follow us on Twitch so you can be in the chat. We've had an active chat tonight on Twitch. So come for us for live streams. It's a lot of fun.
Come spam the chat that Jeremiah needs to watch Shrek.
Something like that. You will be banned. I can figure something out about that. But and then there's a fan email that you can connect with us, and then the link for needlesslynerdy.com, which is an entertainment network that we're a part of. So go check out that for other nerdy content.
Question: what is, I think, our question to everyone? Because we didn't mention what our question was last week. And we're doing this thing instead of having a Q&A because we can't. So I think our question should be, do you guys want us three to have another episode about our a deeper overall dive onto this season? Let us know in the comments on YouTube or wherever you guys get this. Let us know if you guys want that.
All right, cool. I'll try to get that in. So go in the description for future episodes for our questions, or we may try and focus on polls because we can still do polls. So maybe we'll do more focus on.
Well, we can also do that as a poll. Yes or no.
Yes or no, or something like that.
Should Jeremiah watch Shrek?
No.
Yes or yes.
Yes or yes. Yes or yes. Yes or yes.
But then moving forward, though, I will also put in the description in this episode for next week the link to the ILM video of Dave Filoni breaking down the VFX with ILM for Ahsoka. So we'll be doing a breakdown of that, just kind of talking about that, me and Drew, or if Andrew wants to join us. It'll probably be a quicker episode because it's like a 30-minute VFX thing, and so I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know
I haven't watched it yet either.
how great it is, but watch that so you can be informed about what we will be discussing next week. Also in 2 weeks, the next High Republic book review, Temptations of the Force, so book 5 of the adult books, and so we're excited for that. Grace will be joining us for that.
Andrew, are you coming on for that?
Probably not.
After that, we're doing a top 5. That'll be first week of August. So, Andrew, are you on schedule for that? You coming to do that one?
Yes.
All right, you're
All right,
first,
yep, you
folks.
said it.
And then we'll be doing another after that. The Light and Magic behind the scenes stuff for Star Wars on Disney Plus. We'll be doing episode 3 for that since we've done the first 2 already.
We got some stuff coming up.
Yep, and I'm assuming in the near future we're going to be getting a trailer for the next show that will be like this fall. So hopefully we're doing a trailer reactions and trailer breakdown. And
Don't forget
future
the Lego show.
Oh yeah, that's September.
yes.
I'm so excited about that.
Yep,
It's
so
a
that's
show or a movie?
It's a show.
4 episodes, all released at one time.
Well, Andrew,
I'm
we
so
hope
ready
you're.
for that.
So I'm thinking it'll be just like a
Do
one
all.
episode thing that we're gonna do. Now we're gonna do 4 separate episodes, unless we have to.
Unless they're long, they're all like an hour each.
But the
That'd be
lead guy,
hilarious.
the lead guy is the guy from Stranger Things,
Which one?
Dustin.
Oh,
So that'd be cool having him doing voiceover work for that.
I'm excited for that. I'm like so pumped to see.
Yeah, because it's Star Wars What If,
Yep.
but Lego.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So it's gonna be funny. It's gonna be really funny.
It's gonna be good.
Yep. All right. Well, anything else, boys, before we sign out?
I will have you know, Drew. I discussed this with Jeremiah before we started, but I'll have you know, fun fact. So for those of you watching on the YouTube version, you'll notice that I have red lights behind me. Fun fact, my lights were blue before this, and I literally turned them red.
I knew it.
It's like bleeding the LEDs. It wasn't all, I didn't do that intentionally, but Jeremiah was like, "Did you bleed your LEDs?" And then I was like, "Wait, they were blue. They were literally blue before I started recording." So anyways, you heard it here first, folks.
Yep. Do you have
But no,
arms
other
like
than that,
Chimera
no,
or
I don't
anything
have
like that? Okay.
Huh?
Do you have arms like Chimera to like justify
I
your?
wish.
I know he does.
You better start
I do
throwing those
not.
cans of beans or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've been listening to our last. Oh gosh, I was gonna say Ahsoka-tastic, Acolyte-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah,
I'm Andrew.
I'm Drew.
and may the Force be with you.
Always.
Always.